Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast number 127. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, in our beautiful Milwaukee basement studios of Johnny V's.
Some pretty nice weather we've had, too. I mean, a little rainy, but honestly, you can't really complain about the temperatures right now.
No, you can't. So, exciting stuff here tonight. We're going to have, I wanted to name it just the podcast of announcements. We're going to have a bunch of different things going on. We're going to have the likes of Steve Dodge joining us probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then when we're done talking with Steve Dodge, we're going to have Mr. Mike Barnett of Sun King Discs.
Yeah.
And he's got a couple of pretty exciting late-breaking news and announcements that he wants to share with the world. So we're glad to be the platform to do it. I'll probably be talking a little bit more about some new plans of mine that are coming up in the next 6 to 7 or 8 days or less. Some exciting announcements there, too. It's just everywhere. So many things going on. So we're glad that you guys could join us. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody says that things are sounding a little better. We'll follow up real quickly after our much better start already.
Oh, my gosh.
To jinx it, so to speak.
Yeah. The computer hasn't locked up. We haven't froze up by any means. We've got our – go ahead and show them our new recorder over there that we got.
Yeah. We got ourselves a brand new Zoom.
This is thanks to all you people at Patreon. Thanks to you guys, we're able to afford the new Zoom, and we'll be using that or something similar to that actually to do some recording. We actually have two of them. We have one from Terry's that we're actually doing right now. We just got this one in today. So, so that's great. So patreon.com/smashboxtv if you want to be a supporter.
So thank you guys. Again, we're going to be able to take some of that money and immediately reinvest it into upping our technology. I was going to say upping our game, but we're not.
Oh, God, no.
Well, not our disc golf game, but our overall broadcasting game. Do we have one of those yet?
We're working on it.
Okay, we're definitely
working on it.
Again, thank you guys. Thanks for the support. Looking forward to many more podcasts. And then also in doing this, we'll always have a very crystal clear, great audio backup of everything that's going on.
Directly from our mixing board.
Exactly. So if things aren't sounding perfect here, when Johnny takes it, we'll be able to always have this file. Now, will you take this file, or will you take a different one by default, or will this just be exclusively a backup?
This is going to be exclusively a backup. The recording software, I'm actually testing some new recording software using... not using Wirecast today. I'm using vMix as I tried it out. vMix lets me do a couple nicer things that I wasn't able to do with Wirecast, but I can record an audio and a video exactly at the same time. Plus, I'm using Audacity to record, but that's all on the computer. So if the computer freaks out, then those audio things freak out. This is an analog output recording, so we've got 4 different recordings going on right now of this show.
Plus everything in my head.
Oh yeah. That's
rock solid right there.
Pull it out like Dumbledore and just write my pensive.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we have all of those things going on, and then as you've pointed out on the board for some people, you've actually completely reformatted. This is the machine you've worked on now for the last year or two. Doing a lot of the
2014, I believe I bought this PC near the end of 2014, and finally, I think just. I don't know what it was that caused it to start locking up, but I figured before the season starts, before we get into some events that we don't want, crazy things happening, let's just give her a start from scratch. I did a full reformat, reinstalled Windows 10, and she seems to be purring like a kitten now.
Meow. So I'm going to bust out one quick exciting announcement. This goes ahead with somewhat along the lines of what Johnny was just saying. As we're moving into our 2017 season, established 2014. When we're moving into 2017 and officially inking a deal, I guess you could say yesterday. There's been talks and rumors and hopes of this all going down. But as of yesterday, we have come to an agreement and to some terms with none other than Spin TV, along with Jamie Thomas.
Yep.
And the PDGA. Coverage will be, in fact, underwritten and brought to you, presented by the PDGA. We are going to be covering the last 2 rounds of the first national tour event of the year, and that is the Gentlemen's Club Classic Challenge. Gentlemen's Club Challenge. Yeah, GCC, Gentlemen's Club Challenge. I've never been to it, So
Which is funny because we have talked about going to the GCC for probably 15 years. There's two events that in Vegas that we've always talked about going to, the Halloween one and the GCC. And we always thought, hey, it's right before the Memorial. Let's just go and spend a week, do disc golf stuff. And we never did it. We never pulled the trigger. We were never able to get there and just spend a full week. And now you're basically going to.
Well, yeah, and I'll say, since going to my first Memorial in 2005, where I went to pitch the idea of hosting an AM Worlds, ever since then, the Memorial has basically consumed an entire week.
Yep.
So when you go out there, and we've seen it, we love it, and we're going to talk about the Memorial here shortly, but it's consumed that entire week. So for me to sell it back on the family front, to say, well, I'm going to be gone for this entire week of the Memorial. Oh, and by the way, I really want to go to this other event in Vegas for essentially an entire week as well. It's just hasn't been in the cards, and something that I've really pushed too hard for. Well, with the idea that we're going to be live in Vegas and then literally just drive about five and a half hours from Vegas down to the Memorial, and then roughly 70 some hours later kick back up and then be live again when we open the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So Vegas and the Memorial will be coming in, about 4, 5, 6 weeks or so. Pretty darn awesome.
It's great. It's super exciting stuff.
So thank you to Jamie, who's going to be kind of help oversee as things go along. I hope we're not spoiling too much. We're saying that Central Coast is also going to be doing the edited coverage. I believe they're going to be giving you 3, if not all 4 days, probably all 4 days, edited coverage by Central Coast over at the Gentlemen's Club. And then the last 2 rounds, which take place Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be giving you the live footage from that event. So the event is presented by Innova, and you'll see it both on Spin TV as well as on our Smashbox channel. So we're going to do everything we can to cross-brand and promote and get people as excited and in the know as we can. And they'll be discounted because there's only 2 days worth. We do have some sponsorship and advertising available for those 2 days. When you combine the powers that are Spin TV and all the viewership that they have, along with our already amazing Smashies, that's some pretty serious exposure. So reach out if you're interested to advertise with us for the Gentlemen's Club. So
awesome.
Pretty exciting. That's just one of many announcements that we'll have
every
for you
year.
tonight.
We send if you go back through our feed somewhere, there's another night of announcements. I think once a year we get to do this. We get to do a night where we sit and just more or less talk about things that are going on in the disc golf world. So,
and one of the greatest movers and shakers who shook things up last year and will continue to do it this year, Steve Dodge. We're going to dial him up here in just a few seconds. I think we're going to try and get him on the line. I think he what was the movie or the show that he was just watching?
I don't know. I didn't.
I don't know if it was I thought it was The Voice. Maybe, I don't know. He's got some very special taste when it comes to his entertainment, including us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So
Yeah.
we're gonna bring on Steve Dodge of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Steve, what do you got for us tonight, buddy?
Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Johnny. I don't have much going on. I'm just in a new movie, so I wanted to get on the show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Whatever works for you, Steve.
Looks good, buddy. Yeah. What were you just watching on TV that we interrupted you during? Was it The Voice?
That was Peaky Blinders season 3.
Oh, okay.
If you like that, my wife's like into season 4 of Ripper Street on Netflix. Very similar, British type of thing. I think she went through all Peaky Blinders. So, just saying.
Okay, yeah, I'm absolutely loving Peaky Blinders. I've got Jenny watching it now, so life is good.
All right, buddy. Well, we just made some exciting announcements. Live coverage is going to happen the week before we kick off things for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and we know that you've put a huge emphasis and subsequently trusted us a lot to help with live coverage. But Memorial's not far from taking place. Are you ready?
Nowhere near.
Okay. Either are we. So.
It works out great.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of pieces that are falling into place. Had a great call with the UDisc guys this morning, and Johnny and Terry will be looping you guys in on the call next week.
Good.
So that's one of the big changes for next year. I'm hoping to do is have even more UDisc stat integration into the live coverage. Johnny, that's your plate is gonna be more full if I have my way about me.
Yeah.
I did want to touch on we have three pretty big changes to the Tour Championship. If I was going to just touch on one thing tonight, that would be the one thing that I wanted to touch on for sure. Last year we had a little bit of gamesmanship with Drew Gibson dropping that putt, literally dropping that putt. And so we've adjusted one of the rules so that next year after the semifinals, players will be ordered based on tour points instead of based on score in the semifinals. And we're calling that the Gibson rule.
All right. I don't know. I kind of liked the way Gibson did it. He shot himself well enough that he had the opportunity to throw some strokes away and make his choice on what he would eventually burn him. So I kind of liked it the other way, but Steve, I'm going to trust that you know what you're doing. You seem to have put together a heck of a tour last year, so we'll see see how that goes.
The interesting thing to your point, Johnny, is if the other players had wanted to utilize gamesmanship in an equal way, they would have all maximized their scores so that they got one first through eighth all tied, and they would have ended up sorted by tour points anyway.
True. But didn't he gain an advantage by going last by shooting better earlier? Is that how that went? I forget.
That was based on tour points. That's why he got to go last.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for how this upcoming Tour Championship is going to look. I'm sure it'll be just as exciting.
One of the other two big changes is what I call the Wysocki rule. After Ricky did not make it to the finals, after he was beaten in the semifinals, a lot of people questioned, hey, shouldn't the guy who won tour points, shouldn't he get an automatic buy into the finals? I don't quite buy into that logic, but I do buy into the fact that if you win the tour points, you should be compensated. So this year, the tour points champion earns $5,000, and then the tour champion, the person who wins the tour championship, also wins $5,000. So instead of having $10,000 go to the tour championship, we split that up 5,000, 5,000.
Okay, I do like that. I think you've earned your, especially now that we've got a bigger tour, we've got more stops. It's going to be that much more rewarding for the person who ends up in the top tour point spot.
Absolutely. One of my main goals in life is to find things that Johnny likes and make those changes. So one for two.
1 for 2. All right.
I was gonna say you got a lot of work to do then.
I got lots of opinions, Steve. Keep bringing them.
So the third thing is the fact that the Tour Championship is going to be a standalone event, and instead of being 3 rounds, it's going to be 4 rounds. So and instead of the top 48 people qualifying, it'll be the top 50. So what we've got now is in round 1, it'll be players 26th to 50th will be playing the top 8 will advance, and then in round 2 it'll be 9th. Those top 8 people will join 9th to 25th. And again, the top 8 people will advance, and that'll be the semifinals, which is our 4 foursomes with the winners and the wild card advancing, just like last year.
And have you announced, or were you saving that for tonight, where the finals are going to be held?
Or when?
We have not announced that. I know that some other folks, I know Ultiworld has made a guess as to where the Tour Championship will be held.
Yeah, what are they?
I would love for people here to guess where it might be held, and I will neither confirm nor deny where it's being held. We have not dotted all of our T's yet.
Okay.
That's what
and the month is going to be September, October timeframe?
The event will be held in October. The USDGC happens, I think, October 7th, and then the Hall of Fame happens October 14th, and the Tour Championship will happen the week after the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay. So I can't be home for my daughter's birthday again this year, thanks to you.
No chance.
Yeah, thanks.
Kind of the goal.
Bring her along, Terry, if you were a good dad.
Yes.
She
Wow,
can.
that would be great.
She can trust me. We've got enough stuff for her to carry,
The 6-year-old. I don't know if she'd be up for that.
and we can always use the extra luggage for the flight. So she might be worth it just for that.
True.
Won't she be 7, Terry?
No, she'll be 6. She would be turning 6 then.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's trouble. When they turn 7, everything becomes easy. But 6, yeah.
All right, and so the Tour Championships, last year there was a little ruckus around some disciplinary action and some things that were, just some different routes, and Paul McBeth had a stance that he was taking regarding some different events, PDGA sanction, and so on and so forth. What does it look like for this year in regards to the PDGA and the rules and disciplinary action and all those types of things?
So none of our events will be PDGA sanctioned.
Oh, okay.
Everything that we're doing, we're actually, if there's a PDGA rule, like we have, your disc has to be above 2 meters in order to be in bounds.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're just taking all of the PDGA rules and flipping them. If you're inside 10 meters, you have to follow through. You have to have falling putts. But the one interesting thing about that question, and just so everybody knows, that was all a joke. When we announced that the Tour Championship was not going to be PDGA sanctioned, I give both of you kudos, because you both put me on the hot seat and you said, Steve, is this really a good idea? And you called me out at the time. I haven't gone back and watched the tape, but I do remember thinking, wow, they're asking some legitimately soul-searching questions about this decision.
Once in a while, we are accused of being journalists. It's not very often.
Well, at that moment, you nailed it. And in retrospect, I believe that you guys had the right take on that. The way that I handled that, I think I handled that poorly. Rather than, and I just said the exact same thing that the Disc Golf Answer Man. So my apologies to anybody who listened to that podcast, which is clearly one of the top 2 podcasts out there for disc golf.
At least that comes out of Dynamic Disc. We love you guys.
Oh, no, that's good stuff, Terry. Good stuff. So, but anyway, I think I handled that poorly. I think I clearly should have gone to the board of directors before I did that and told them this is why I'm upset. These are the things I'd like to see addressed, and if not, I'm going to go ahead and publish an open letter to the PDGA. I did it in reverse order, and it caused I basically tore down some bridges with the hope of building new ones. I'll go ahead and say the PDGA's been gracious enough to accept my apologies and understanding of where I was, and in fact, I believe we've got better bridges built for the 2017 season. The National Tour starts off at the GCC. The Memorial is the very next event. They're relatively close together. The Tour flows pretty close to as well as you could hope. I think Worlds is kind of an outlier, but then again, Worlds is one of the majors, so people will travel to it. But all of the Pro Tour events will have PDGA media involvement. We will be on the PDGA website hyping all of these events, getting people excited to watch. So it's exactly what the goal is. We're working very closely together this year. And I think while I didn't do it the best way possible, my voice was heard, and some good some positive changes came out of that.
Okay, and you're getting commended here on the board. People say that an admirable quality of you is your ability to listen, take criticism, and then hopefully grow and build and improve on that. So when you demonstrate that to me and Johnny, then I think we'll say the same.
Then we'll say the same thing. Yeah.
No,
It's not going to happen, Terry.
No. So of course, again, all 10 stops, probably plus the finals, maybe, sort of, probably, to be PDGA sanctioned. And then we're seeing them at B and A tier levels, or strictly A tiers for pros, or was there any kind of official cutoff or
so the Jones
requirement?
The Jonesboro Open and the Idlewild Open, those are brand new events, and those will come on board as B tiers. The PDGA was reluctant to give them A tier status just because we said so. And I can understand that.
Yeah.
So those are brand new events. They're Pro Tour events, so they will absolutely have the $10,000 added cash. They will absolutely have 3 rounds live cast. The Jonesboro's 4 days, the Idlewild's 3 days. So they'll have the final 3 days will be live broadcast. And they'll obviously have all of the UDisc stats, and people will earn all those tour points. So they are Pro Tour stops, and the PDGA has just given them B tier status because that's all they were comfortable doing in their little paradigm. All of the other events are A tier events. They all have a very good track record of being great events, and yeah, I'm very excited. And just to make it sound like we doubled events, what I say is last year we had 5 events plus a finals, and this year we have 10 events including a finals. So we actually went from 5 events to 9 events, and both years we had a tour championship. But I worded it as 10 instead of 5, so it sounds like we actually doubled in size.
Yes, you're very clever with those numbers.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a great night.
How challenging was it for you to get to the events that you did in terms of who you brought on board for this year? As you just said, you doubled. Should I use air quotes? You doubled the number of events this year. Obviously, you put out a call for those events to reach out to you. What was your selection process? What were some of the main things that were considered? And to follow that up with, what are some of the things you are looking for in the future for someone that maybe didn't get selected this year?
So great question, and I would invite anybody that wants to run a Pro Tour event to go to our website, hit the Contact Us button, and let's start the conversation. Right off the bat, the things we look for in an ideal world, a private course, a championship caliber course, a course that is challenging, that is fair, and that is spectator friendly. Those are the 3 attributes to the course that we look for. We want to have a group of people that are running the event that are experienced in running the event. The event can be new. Ideally, well, I don't even know what ideal is in that sense, but we want to make sure that the people that are running the event have experience running events, and they have experience handling staff, and they have experience dealing with spectators on at least some level. For example, the Idlewild guys, those guys run A tiers and B tiers and weeklies all the time. They're high-end TDs that understand the ins and outs of the sport. They have really good relationships with many of the manufacturers. I know they speak highly of DGA. They speak highly of Innova. Those guys have always been very supportive, and hopefully they're supportive of the event this year. And then the Jonesboro folks, Brad has got a beautiful piece of property over this side of heaven in Jonesboro, and he is an event marketing, an event management guy. He works with the NCAA when they come through in March Madness, and he's got a very good crew of people working with him on that event as well. I don't want to spoil his announcement, but he does have a presenting sponsor that has just come on board, who is in fact one of the partners for the Pro Tour as well. So stay tuned to the Jonesboro Open for hopefully some pretty exciting news when he releases that.
Sweet. Well, and aside from everything you just said that you're looking for, also the ability or capabilities to raise substantial amount of added cash as part of the requirement as well. And if you're a great TD and you're fulfilling all of those other criteria, you probably have done well in the added cash category. But that's certainly critical as well.
Yeah, I should have mentioned you need a sugar daddy.
Yes.
Terry's still looking for one. So anyone out there that would like to...
I'm looking for multiple.
Yeah, well, looks like you've had a few sugar daddies.
Simmer down.
Oh, there we go.
I thought Steve was going to be my sugar daddy. It's decreased slightly. I was a little frustrated last week. I had ultimately pulled some muscle, and I actually couldn't do anything for 4 or 5 days. I even went to the doctor over it, but it's decreasing slightly. So hopefully
will
you
say
see less
that,
of me on
yesterday
TV.
I put on all of the winter fat that I will put on for the season,
Oh,
and I am now on my way back down.
oh, that's nice for you.
That is nice.
Yeah.
So, Terry, have you been reading any thesauruses to make your vocabulary better for commentating?
No, what I think I want to do is go out and listen to all of the other broadcasters or announcers or commentators in our sport, and then just take all of their catchphrases.
All their best hits?
Yeah, just take all their catchphrases.
great
I think
idea.
that's the way to do it. Smack Gap, isn't that one of
That
yours?
is a good one. I'll go ahead and say that I think it's Lanny for Terry for the Penguins. He beat him like a rented mule, which is one of my faves.
Okay. So now you talk about something else. You talked about partners. I think there's something cool, unique, exciting that's all taking place here that you want to discuss on the show. Maybe like a exclusive partner product that people could.
Absolutely. We do have. Well, there's a couple things that I'd love to hit on.
Oh.
But we have. I think it starts shipping today. As a matter of fact, is the Discraft has provided us with 500 Jawbreaker mini buzzes. So everybody knows the Jawbreaker material, that super soft, gummy material that just feels super yummy. And then the mini buzz is obviously the sensation of 2016 outside of the Zuka cart. And we put both of those two things together, and they made us 500 Jawbreaker mini buzzes in a very special DGPT coloring. And if you want one of those 500, now is the time to order them. Go to dgpt.com, which is the Disc Golf Pro Tour website, and go get them. We've sold, I think, pre-order, we sold about 300 of the 500. So it's pretty exciting so far.
All right, so they should get out there immediately and try and snatch some of those up if they want the Jawbreaker mini buzz. Man, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff going on. All right, what else do you got for us?
Lot of stuff. We also have an improved fantasy league that I think is going to happen. Maybe we can get some confirmation from Johnny, because we're going to hopefully be working in coordination with Johnny, with UDisc, with Ultiworld Disc Golf, and the Pro Tour. And Johnny, do you want to explain what we're hoping to do?
Well, what we're hoping to do is get my website up and running. Jeez.
Oh.
No, the Fantasy Disc Golf website, I am working with a web developer right now, and he was super swamped last week with some real project that really pays him well. So I've been working with him now this week to get the stuff finalized. I have got a lot of things that we're working on, hopefully setting up a salary cap and working on a specific Pro Tour league, getting the U-Discs.
I did have a fantasy hockey team,
Okay.
but I don't follow hockey much. So I think I made the playoffs one year, but I didn't know enough to change my line, so I was quickly eliminated.
Okay. So now you're into it about as much as I am. Is that what you're trying to
It
tell
sounds
me?
like we have a battle going on, yeah.
Okay.
I will go ahead and say I made picks in 3 of the 5 events for the Pro Tour last year. So that was pretty good.
So I'm going to ask you, Johnny, will you have to participate? I mean, is there any leeway whatsoever? Let's say I completely forget to log in one week. There's will I be able to just maybe leave my lineup as it was the week before in case I forget to
No,
log
because
in?
the lineup is the nice thing is you'll be able to set your lineup weeks and weeks and weeks ahead of time. Okay. But every event is going to have a different group of players. So, as we know, McBeth isn't hitting every Pro Tour stop, unfortunately.
Or maybe World Tour, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, and what's best is if you check your lineup right before the event. But if you forget, you can set it ahead of time if there is a good. I'm guessing that most of these guys will have pre-regged weeks and weeks ahead of time, so you should have that advantage. But no, as of right now, I don't know if we are going to be doing any leeway. We'll talk to Steve about that as far as the Pro Tour, whether or not we want to do a best 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or something along those lines. I haven't put that much thought into it yet.
Okay.
Johnny, I think what we're going to end up doing, and I'm happy to change my mind if someone tells me there's a better way to do it. But what I think we'll end up doing is saying the person who does the best over the 9 events wins a big prize, and then the person who does the best at each of the individual events also wins a nice prize.
I believe that is a
So
good way to go about it.
yeah, we'll encourage people to play individually, and then also encourage people to play the whole thing. The two things that excited me that you said were salary cap. I hope that happens. At last I heard it was a possibility.
It
but
is.
That's a really exciting aspect.
Yeah, I need
And
to
then-
figure
and then-
out. I need to figure out what we want to put for the salary cap, how much, and then
And by salary, you mean points. Cap.
salary cap. Yeah, it's going to be a ratings points cap, and if I can work with the developer, the PDGA has an API that I can actually talk to their system and maybe pull in those ratings. So whenever they do a ratings update, it'll go through and do that for me, so I don't have to sit for hours and manually update a lot of those things. So hopefully we get that going.
What was the other thing you were excited about that he said?
The other thing was the incorporation of the UDisc stats. We have, the Pro Tour obviously works very closely with UDisc, and we have amazing stats. And to incorporate those into a fantasy league, I think that'll be a first for disc golf. And what kind of stats and how are you thinking about incorporating them, Johnny?
Well, I've actually had a couple conversations with Paul Ulibarri, and I think I had some conversations with you. And as far as we're looking at giving points for, number of birdies, or, for every birdie you get, we'll just say 2 points. For every bogey you get -2 points. There'll be a whole structure for an ace, for an albatross. Based on your finish, I think there'll be some bonus points. So we're looking at, number of out-of-bounds strokes, number of, maybe even some bonuses for inside the putt percentage if you're the highest one, or maybe you'll get a bonus. Your player will get bonus points for that. So we need to finish working out a point structure and figure out how we want to accrue points for people and how we want to penalize people for points. So if your player gets 3 straight bogeys, is that going to be as good as getting 3 straight birdies? A birdie bonus versus a bogey bonus. So there's all sorts of things that we can do, and hopefully with the help of UDisc, they'll be able to just give me a file. We'll upload it, at the end of the event, put it in there, and by, hopefully sometime Sunday or Sunday night, everyone's scores will be updated.
That sounds fantastic. And if I remember correctly, I put forward a point system, and then you rebutted with a modified point system,
Yeah.
and I quickly liked yours better than mine, I think.
I stole most of my points structure from a golf one, and then I adjusted it based on a couple of things. Because as we know in golf, birdies are a lot less frequent than they are in disc golf. So
Yeah.
you can rack up your birdies. Just like I think, for us, bogeys are, I think, would you say bogeys are more or less frequent in disc golf than they are in golf? Or were they pretty equal
I
for
think
our
they're
top
less
players?
frequent.
You think they're
Yeah,
less frequent for our
probably
top
a little
players?
less frequent. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so maybe because they're less frequently, maybe we penalize them a little more for that than what the point structure I looked at was. So I have that sheet somewhere. I'll have to dig it up again because I haven't dived into it recently.
So, Terry, the last little note that I had, because I actually made some notes for myself. The last note that I had is that we're hoping to increase the women's coverage this year over what we've done in the past, which is our one season of coverage. And the goal is to cover the women. I'll go ahead and say the lead card significantly this year. If we can manage to figure out how to do a tape delay, we've got the women starting earlier with the goal of being able to show a tape delayed version of the women's broadcast, of the women's round during the live broadcast. So that's one of the big significant improvements, hopeful improvements over the over last year's coverage. We don't yet know that we'll be able to do it, but just like last year, I suspect we're going to constantly improve the broadcast as we did last year. It was pretty fun to watch from the Vibram Open through the GMC and the finals how far we had come, and I look forward to doing that again.
Yeah, certainly. Smashbox loves to try and push the envelope and do whatever we can to push things forward and keep moving in the right direction. As we relay it as much as possible to people, it always comes down to manpower. certainly there's usually some kind of budget concern and sometimes a little bit of technology. But if we can get all three of those to somehow work within one another, you're going to see some continued improvements. So, yeah. Did you see we bought a new recorder? Okay, maybe that won't help, but we do appreciate all the support from everyone. So,
you mean a VCR?
Yes.
A VHS, I mean?
Yes, this it's about the size of no, maybe not VHS tape. It's funny how many people don't even know what those are, but I guess that's another conversation for another day. Steve, anything else that we need to know about in our night of announcements and exciting news?
You
got anything else you'd like to share?
I would love to ask people, when you guys are at the GCC covering it, please watch. And when we are at the Memorial with our inaugural event of the season, please watch. Obviously, without the players and without the venues and without the sponsors, none of this would work. But realistically, the entire reason we're doing all of this is because we want spectators. We want people to enjoy watching the best players in the sport on some of the best venues at the premier events in disc golf. And the goal here is to get people to enjoy watching the sport. And if you want to support us, obviously you can go buy a Jawbreaker Mini Buzz. That helps 100%. The other way to help us is to watch and tell your friends to watch.
I couldn't agree more. And I was just thinking this weekend, again, some of the differences, and this is a little more philosophical for another day, but just the differences of how people this weekend were planning times and their days and their weekend around, when does their favorite team or the team they actually want to watch, maybe if it's not their favorite, as the NFL playoffs are taking place, and how so many people, whether it was at the gym or the grocery store or, you're running errands or which night you were going out or not, all of those different things so often are built around who's playing and at what time and on what day. And I kept thinking to myself, will disc golf get to that point in our prime time of the season, in July, in August, in September? And I always worry that we have such an upward battle because so many people can be out playing. I couldn't be otherwise out playing football. Even if I did round up 21 other buddies, we're probably not going to go out and be playing football this weekend in January. Disc golf is structured so much differently. If it's a nice September day, it might be the final round of the Green Mountain Championships, and you may or may not find more interest in just being out and enjoying maybe one of the last fall days of the year. So not to be a downer here, we want people to watch, and we have to, it's our job to make it as compelling and interesting and as professional as possible, and I hope we continue to strive to do that. We've got an upward battle, and we look forward to it.
So to that point, Terry, there's two sides to that point. Number one, yes, we absolutely want people to plan their day around the final rounds at Pro Tour events and sit down for those 3 hours and give us a watch. We absolutely want that. However, we also want people to go out and play. And when people go out and play, one of the great things that Smashbox has done, that UDisc has done, and that the Pro Tour has done by partnering with you two, is this whole watching aspect of the sport is mobile friendly. You can easily go to UDisc on your phone and watch the stats as they pour in. The wonderful thing is you can also go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, you can go to dgpt.com, you could probably go to smashbox.com, or you could watch it in the UDisc app. You can go to any one of these sites and watch the live broadcast right on your phone at the course. And even if you're just checking in while you're walking to the next tee, or if you have a 10-minute break while there's a 2-hole backup, every time that you think about watching a Pro Tour event, you're helping the Pro Tour.
Very true. So tune in when you can and enjoy as much of it as you can. We love seeing those numbers, and we love seeing people participate in that capacity for sure. So, Johnny, are we having, speaking of audio or video, are we having issues?
I think we're having some stream issues. We're going to let Steve get going here, and we'll finish up with him, and we'll see if that clears it up. If it's a Skype issue taking up all the bandwidth, or if it's something on our side.
All right. Well, Steve, looking forward to it,
I
buddy.
hope things clear up for you as soon as I sign off.
All right.
All right, Steve. Well, of course, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the Disc Golf Pro Tour updates. We look forward to sharing some living space with you in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
It should be fun. All right. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
Go Cowboys.
Ouch.
Oh,
Ouch.
wow.
Oh, we didn't even get to that one yet. That would have been too easy.
Yeah, that would have been too easy.
Yes, his brother was at the game, according to the Facebooks. I saw his brother, who will also be a very crucial cameraman throughout the year, Todd Dodge, was in fact at the game, watching in person the Packers. I would say send them home, but they were already kind of home.
Yeah, yeah.
Have them pack their bags, clean out their lockers. Could think of a few other cliches for them. So, congrats to the No, not to the Cowboys. Not so much. Oh, Steve. He had to end it on that note too. It got me thinking.
Just mean.
What I'm going to say to that is, we all know I'm not a diehard sports fanatic of any kind. I enjoy watching the Packers. I enjoyed watching the Cubs after that little drought they had come through this year with the World Series. And I know he's paid to be an entertainer, and I know it's a part of the whole shtick and everything. Mm-hmm. But watching Skip Bayless, the way he rebutted after the Packer-Cowboy game, I was so infuriated.
Yeah, that's his job.
That's
his job.
That's just it. It's his job, and I understand it. And he gets paid a million times more than I do.
Yep.
Even though I think I could tick people off just as easily.
Pretty close, I think.
Man, is it infuriating listening to someone follow up after a loss like that. I'm sure we have plenty of Cowboy fans out there, and that's great. And I'm sure we have plenty of Packer fans out there. But
I won $20 from one of our favorite pros.
I hear. Why don't you tell us about that?
Last week, I was watching. I don't know if I mentioned it during the show last week, but I was watching the Paige Pierce plastic pull from one of the dynamic disc streams, and she was standing next to a stack of green plastic. I think they were Truths. And I had said, hey, those are Packer colors. And this is before they played the Cowboys, you know, her home team. And so she threw out the a little wager, a monetary wager, and I was all about it. So and let me tell you, after that first half, I was feeling pretty good. By the end of the second half, I was a little more nervous. But thankfully, with Paige Pierce, I won $20. So thank you, Paige. I'll collect that maybe at GBO. We'll meet up for that. So,
did you guys have any follow-up after?
I sent her a Facebook message that I just said, love you, Paige, but... And then a picture of Aaron Rodgers when he had his chin strap not pinned. He kind of was giving a little sideways smirk.
Nice.
And all she put was a little bitty teary face. So,
well, it sounds like something to follow in those footsteps. It sounds like Kevin McCoy and I have just officially placed a $20 wager on the Packers and the Falcons this weekend. So,
yeah. That's
Kevin,
I think that's going to be tougher than
Dallas.
Than Dallas, I really do.
Okay. Well, that's yeah. Glad to do so, Kevin. So officially time and date stamped right here for you. So everyone knows we're going head-to-head for that $20 bill this weekend. Sounds good. I'm good with that. All right. Soon we're going to be welcoming Mr. Michael Barnett. Do you have anything on the other technical side here that we're worried about? No? I just see a little blurb of some people saying there was some concern out there. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's
anything on our end that we can do or...
I don't see anything on our end. Everything looks good as far as the stream right now. I'm getting a big fat red, which is good, bar, and
okay.
So we'll see. And if anything happens with Mr. Barnett, we'll cut video to him again, just like we did with Steve here. So, but everything seemed fine on our side. So I'm guessing it was a Skype issue. It's always Skype. So I was just telling someone on the board soon. Time Warner Cable is turning to Charter in our area. Charter offers slightly better speeds. They offer, rather than a 5 meg up, they offer a 7 meg up, which is, 2 meg, which is actually pretty much the size of our stream. So ultimately, we're giving a little bit more of a push. So hopefully, cross my fingers, we can get that going. So, and everyone's saying it's good now. So I'm guessing it had to be a Skype issue,
and hopefully just on his end and not necessarily on Mike Barnett's. We're going to call up Mike Barnett here in just a moment and see if we can get him.
Give me 1 second here. I want
to join us. Everyone says that things seem to be a little bit clearer and a little bit better. And Mike says he gave me the thumbs up, saying that he's going to be all ready to go.
Yeah, so let's do this.
I had a quick conversation with Dana Vici a little earlier today. He said that if things wrap up soon enough with both Dodge and Barnett, that he may be joining us. I saw him out on the chat board a little earlier. So we've been missing our Dynamite for the last few weeks. We've been so jam-packed with our guests and all the news and announcements that we haven't had a chance. So hopefully we'll have Dynamite a little later.
Just stall for about 2 more minutes.
Oh, it's stalling. Okay. I was reading some conversation about, for those who don't know, and I guess to get a little technical for just a second, you said you have a 5 meg up connection here, correct?
Correct.
That is... The packages that they offer us are not really conducive for uploading. Everything is obviously, there's such a huge focus on download. This is true in most places. And for you and I both who actually have 5 meg uploads, what is even the next one that you can? It's something absurd.
As far as right now, there is nothing.
Yeah, and so
there's nothing more than I can get than 5 meg up currently.
And we've looked into things like AT&T and all the other service providers, and there's just such a lack of focus on upload capabilities, which is something that is the thing that we're most concerned about whenever we're doing the shows. So that trust me, we've explored a lot of those options throughout doing this the last few years.
That should actually be one of our Patreon goals. If we can get like 1,000 a show, I'll bring a fiber line right to my house.
That's a good call.
Because that's about what it's going to cost me.
That's definitely a good call.
So we'll see. All right, let's dial up Mr.
Barnett of Sun King Dis. And one of the questions on the board in other announcements that we're not making today officially because it's already been done, but yes, we will talk a little bit about the Masters Cup is no longer going to have the title sponsor of DGA. That's for the 2017 season. I have talked to a few people, and they're saying that this is currently the 1-year arrangement that's been made. Obviously, things can be open for 2018 again. Right now, we see Innova Champion Dis as your title sponsor for the Masters Cup. So we're going to bring on none other than Mr. Sun King himself, Mike Barnett. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? You staying warm up there?
Yeah, Johnny mentioned it earlier. Today, I walked outside, and it was genuinely comfortable. I don't know, what was it, 38, 40-ish? To me, it was genuinely comfortable. We've had a few bitter cold spells, as expected in winter, and I'm good with them. But today was like, wow, it was raining, and there was like an ice storm that's rolled through that's contained quite a few people that rolled throughout the Midwest. But no, it's warm enough. We'll take it.
All right, that's good.
And how are you doing down in Clearwater, Sarasota area, down in Florida?
If I had to guess right now, I'd say we're about 65 degrees. 65. Oh. Nice, cool, low humidity. That's what we like in the winter. That's why we put up with the heat, the 90-plus degrees, multiple days in a row for months on end to get the awesome winter weather. So you guys sent down a little bit last week. It dipped down in the 30s and 40s in this area. So I appreciate it. It was all of 3 days.
Yeah, so that was your winter, as some would say.
I read that last week there was snow in 49 of 50 states.
Wow.
We had to been the only one without, right? Maybe? No, Hawaii. Right?
I would imagine Hawaii and some of maybe the mountainous areas maybe would have some, or maybe the Florida Panhandle hit some. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take the time and look at what the 50th state was.
We have 50 now?
Well, what's funny is
That's
the Panhandle really isn't part of Florida. A lot of people don't realize that. So
Oh, okay.
True.
Okay. So
it's Lower Alabama.
and that's why you're all bundled up in what, a long sleeve right now? uh, all right. Well, Mike, some may or may not know you. You've been obviously very active throughout all the years. As long as I've known you, you've been down in Florida, but then we've also seen you do some amazing things with dozens or hundreds now of tournaments, both mainly sanctioned, a few non. And then in the last year, you've teamed up. You've done a lot of great things working with Discraft. You've been part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, again running so many events with Sun King. And then a year ago, it was just a year ago that I'd been getting some updates about, or I'm sorry, from 2 or 3 years ago, Throw Down the Mountain being one of the probably the most covered, at least in the last few years, events, hosting a great event that took place in January. Now it's in March. What's like day to day for you? You got a shop, you're doing all these other things. For those that may not know you, what's kind of like a day to day operation for Mike Barnett?
Yeah, we definitely do a variety of different things. Not all of it per se, like upfront and visible to the consuming public. And we kind of built our name on a couple of different things. That's, like you mentioned, running tournaments. I was attempting to try and guess how many it was about 6 months ago, maybe over the summer or something. And the only thing I could really come up with, it's got to be over 200, counting all of the ice bowls and ace races, and you count up all those little things that we've done over the years. And we're coming into our 16th year. So if you're not careful, you're gonna last that long. You're gonna end up doing some things that build a resume of sorts, and so that keeps us busy. Going right now is kind of, we're gearing up. January is typically a pretty busy month for us, and February kind of a little gap. There's some other things going on, and I start getting ready for Throw Down the Mountain. And then I run basically March through June. I probably have 1 or 2 weekends off. I have a store that we operate, that goes 6 days a week. We have an active website, sunkingdiscs.com, for those keeping score at home. And then we also do wholesale. We do some wholesale. We do course design and installation. I did a small project last year. I've actually got 3 projects, pokers in the fires, I like to call them, working right now. We'll just see how those come to. Then, of course, the Pro Tour is going to keep us pretty busy again this year. I think I'm hitting about the same amount of events on the Pro Tour itself that we did last year. Maybe it's one more, but we're also going to be hitting some events that we haven't gone to before, and that's that combination of the Pro Tour and the National Tour. So we have the deal with Discraft and DGA, and where they partner, all of us partner together to try and consolidate and instead of having 3 vehicles cruising the country, be one of us, and we're just trying to do the best we can to support Steve, who was on earlier, his vision of the Pro Tour, and also helping to help give us a little bit of exposure as well. So it's a very retail is cutthroat. That's the easiest way to say it. You probably know a little bit about it, but it's we try and separate ourselves. We're bringing back a lot of the things that we did years ago on our website and doing stuff. But I tell you what, it's a tough market, especially with so many non-disc golf specific retailers in the market. Amazon is one of those giant retailers. And if you go on there and you look at who's actually selling a lot of the disc golf, you'd be surprised. It's just people that aren't in the industry at all. There's a lot of those types of players and players in the game. So
we're just trying to, keep it loose and keep it fun. And one of the things that we've done over the years is try and come up with new and different ideas. The Players Cup was one of those back in 05 to 08. Tried to do some, take something to the next level. And then the Disc Golf Cruise was another one that we ran from 2006 to 2011, I believe it was. And, we kind of let it go for a little bit, but wanted to come back on here and talk about how exciting an event this is, especially in the landscape that is the current disc golf situation, where we are even from 2011.
So, and that's exactly what I was kind of leading into. You have this, you guys have dedicated yourself so much to disc golf in so many different facets, all the way from course design and the retail side of things, wholesaling, tournament administration, all of those things. And that comes full circle when you put together an outing that is just that, the Disc Golf Cruise. So for those who aren't familiar with the 5 or 6 year stretch that it was taking place, fill us in. Tell us what that exactly is going to mean as we move into it's 2017 now, but we're already talking about next year and this amazing event.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, when you talk Disc Golf Cruise, a lot of like the knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, you play disc golf on the boat. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm like, I guess I never really thought of it that way, but I could see why a lot of people do. But no, it's actually better than that. Because
play from
I think
boat
that
to
could
boat.
be pretty cool. But we definitely, you're in a situation where we're playing on a private island. So that's what really takes it to the next level. And when you tell someone and it kind of clicks in their mind, they're like, oh, wow, that is really cool. So as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I think we were the only ones to run a sanctioned event in the Bahamas. So, and that kind of, I definitely think that's, something I like to put on the resume. It's like the first to do something like that. But, long term, I think there's, potentially even more to it than just the disc golf cruise. But, being in Florida and literally not that far from so many Caribbean locales, there's the mind starts to get, wander and get excited about what could be as part of, where disc golf is in 15 or 20 years from now. But the cruise kind of came about some discussions, and we ended up doing the first 3 with Royal Caribbean on their private island. And then we did the next couple with Carnival. And in each one of those kind of, new kind of approach and, new dialogue with each of these cruise lines, we never really got to where we got with Norwegian for this one. Norwegian Cruise Lines was immediate. My wife and I just wanted to take a vacation. We hadn't really been on a real true vacation in many years. And that's just a byproduct of working weekends in the disc golf industry. So we nailed it down and grabbed some time right after Thanksgiving and took a week. And in that whole time, we had discussed with our travel agent through Expedia that we were kind of familiar with how it all worked and familiar, because we've done this before, So they were like, oh, well, what are you talking about? And then they ran it up Norwegian's ladder, if you will, the corporate ladder, and we within 24, 48 hours, we were getting responses from district managers and business development managers, and they were like, well, my son plays. I'm kind of familiar with it, and I think that too is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is just that the temperature of disc golf right now, right? I mean, putting a course in 10 years ago was sometimes you still had to have the conversation what disc golf what it exactly was.
Yep.
Now I've got a business development manager for Norwegian Cruise Line. His son plays, so the familiarity right there off the bat is we've already conquered that. So we ended up switching our vacation cruise, excuse me, to meet this business development manager, Steve. He was on a different itinerary out of a different port, and he insisted that we come join him on his itinerary, and he would give us a personal tour of the private island. And so things accelerated pretty quickly after that. And I think one of the coolest stories of getting this chapter of the disc golf cruise up and running was when we got the personal tour. It was Steve and I, and then one of the assistant island managers, and he was telling me, a younger guy, I would say mid late 20s, and he was like, I had asked him, I said, have you heard of it? Have you heard of disc golf? I believe he was from South Africa. And he said, well, actually, I do. I heard of it, but only because we play it here on the island when we have a little bit of time off. We have discs here, and we just do object golf. So they're thrown to a tree, a palm tree, or maybe a garbage can that's near the beach or something to that effect. So I was like, oh man, this is getting easier with each step we take. So it moved pretty quick from there, and it's really about the experience. When you look at everything that we're doing, from the cruise to getting on the ship, the excitement of getting on the ship, especially for the first timers that get on a big, massive ship. The Epic, which is the ship we're going to be sailing on, is the second largest in Norwegian's fleet. I believe, my memory serves, it's 41 or 4,200 passengers. So
wow,
it's a big boat. It's a big boat for sure.
I think that's larger than Emporia. That holds those people. Okay, maybe not. They have 10,000.
Yeah, that's right. But the scale of what we're doing is it just really comes into view once everybody arrives and the excitement starts to build, because people are going on vacation and they're going to do something that they love, and that's play disc golf. And I think the biggest component, besides the actual tournament that's on in this case will be Great Stirrup Key in the Bahamas, is that we have some really cool hosts. And the hosts do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. They play a couple different roles. They do some entertainment. They do our clinics, do a lot of interacting. I mean, Terry, I know you have known me, Johnny too, for quite some time, and I know that you think I'm a fantastic guy, and I'm funny, Johnny, even though I'm a Cubs fan.
You can't account for everything. Everybody's got a flaw.
That's right. But there's some bigger names out there in the disc golf industry, rightfully so, based on their playing skills and things like that and what they've accomplished. And there's a lot of players that would love to meet and hang with these better players for a week in a very semi-intimate scenario where we're having dinners together and doing a lot of activities, both in each of the ports of call and things like that. But I think one of the biggest announcements we have as part of what we're doing tonight is to let everyone know that Jay and Des Redding will be joining us again. They have been on every one of them, on all of our cruises. And our newcomers, our rookies, our disc golf cruise rookies,
yeah, they are
going to be the Doss family. So we have Nate and Val joining us, and they're very excited to do so, and we're very excited to have them. So I think is just the value of being on a cruise and hanging with four world champions is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty solid lineup that you have there, and the actual there's a tournament. It's a one round. You have it as a C tier, and that takes place sometime around midweek, right? Is that on Wednesday or one of the?
Actually, I have the itinerary right here. I'll kind of scroll through this real quick. It's a 7-day.
Okay.
And I think there was definitely some discussion in the past. The first few we did were 5 days, and that was more just an economics thing, and just it was our first time doing it. And then as we did more and more, and we had repeat cruisers, they wanted better itineraries and different itineraries and longer time. And of course, so we did that and did some 7 days over the years. But this is really exciting. So our port of where we port out of is Port Canaveral. That is on the East Coast. For those of you doing geography,
East Coast of Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
Just throwing that out
East
there.
Coast, and it is basically it's less than an hour from Orlando. So if you had to fly in, Orlando would be your closest major airport. The good news is there's plenty of quality disc golf in the area too. So if you're going to extend your vacation, come in a couple of days early. Plenty both quality and historic courses right in the immediate area. In fact, there's a course right there at Airport Lakes, which is really close to the course. You could probably hop right out of the airport and go play Airport Lakes right there in southern Orlando. So 7 days. What's really cool about this, we have 4 ports of call, which is pretty good. It's what I like about this is that you have there's really only 2 days at sea, which is the day where you don't port. And when you're doing a 7-day, I think it's really important to be really kind of keeping you busy each and every day. So check this out, Port Canaveral, where it's a Saturday when we leave. And then the next day, which is Sunday, is the actual Great Stirrup Key in the Bahamas, and that is the private island. So it's the very first day. We play the tournament one round sanctioned C tier. I would like to point out that there is a rule at C tier. We were comfortable re-sanctioning it. There was a couple of years I think we didn't sanction the event because we were afraid of people having cocktails. And
you can
Jimmy
do
Buffett
that on a cruise?
I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Go on.
Wait, what happened?
I said you can do that on a cruise? Cocktails?
Yeah, well, I mean, in a sanctioned tournament.
No, I know. Go ahead.
Yeah. I hope so. And we've got some more to tell you about how exciting what Norwegian has given our group, and I'll go over that in a minute. But the fear was drinking during a sanctioned tournament. Technically, you could be DQ'd, and there is maybe a little known rule that in a C tier, the first go round is just a warning. So we're kind of cashing in on that.
But
rule
only on private islands. So
yeah,
I mean that's.
So,
yeah.
So
Steve,
the players meeting might include an entire warning for the whole okay. Anyway, go on.
You've got to tell me as the TD, you're going to have to someone's going to have to point it out. If
Yeah. Okay.
If I don't see it, I can't really do much about it. So
yeah.
But anyway, Steve Dodds was saying earlier about how he had the Ricky rule and the Bradley. Was it or I'm sorry, not what was the other rule?
There's the Ricky rule and the Drew Gibson rule.
Yeah,
the Drew Gibson. There we go. And I was like, I think one of Steve's goals, side note, should be that he should just have a rule for every player that gets a tour card next year and just have some random rule.
It could go on their card, actually. That'd be great next year.
Yes, on their playing card. Absolutely.
That would be a UDIS stat. How many rules are named after you?
Well, we're hoping that's the disc golf rule, this little semi-unknown rule there. But after that, Bahamas, day at sea, and then drum roll. If you got a little drum machine or something there you can hit. Ocho Rios Jamaica Man. So that comes into play. The very next day, if you haven't had enough good times, we roll into Georgetown, Grand Cayman Islands. And why not just keep it rolling right after that? I mean, we're just in full throttle at this point. Cozumel, Mexico is our final port of call. And then we were back in Florida back on that Saturday morning again. So, yeah, pretty exciting. I feel that this could be our best itinerary yet. Getting Jamaica and Mexico both into the mix. I haven't been to Georgetown yet. I haven't been to Jamaica either. So I'm going to be pretty excited. I know a lot of other people are, and we're really excited with what Norwegian has given us. What do you guys want to do? You want to talk about costs? What do you want to?
Well, first and foremost, let's lead in with the dates. Have the dates been set? Because everyone is clamoring to know the exact dates of it.
We are almost exactly 1 year out from our sale. We are looking at 20th through the 27th, 2018.
Okay, so January 20th through January 27th, 2018. Those are the dates for everyone that's listening in.
Maybe I'll go 2 years in a row with a cruise because I'm leaving out of the same port in April for a exciting Disney cruise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
maybe then next year I'll just swing right into the disc golf cruise.
Perfect. So there you go. So
yeah, you'll be seasoned by then. You'll be ready.
Will passports be needed?
No. That's what's great about cruising. It's definitely not mandatory, but absolutely 100% recommended. Not mandatory. It's just a lot easier.
Kind of like that drinking rule.
Yes. You don't want to get off in like Cozumel and not be able to get back on. It's probably just a good idea to have your passport.
Okay.
So what they do is you have a cruise card, and that allows you to enter into the port area, and you'll go through a security screening once you get back on the boat. But yeah, I definitely not going to tell you not to bring it. It's just not necessary, but definitely highly recommended. That is actually a really, really good question.
I stole it from the board. Our Smashies are on top of it. So that was a question from them. Okay, so we've got the dates, January 20th through the 27th. That's a Saturday to Saturday. Sunday is going to be when the sanctioned tournament will actually take place. And then briefly going over your itinerary, throughout the week, there's different things that are going to be led by the hosts, Val and Nate, Juliana and Des, and various types of clinics, I'm sure broken up for men versus women in some regards, one-on-one training, all that kind of stuff. Am I getting ahead of it?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little rundown of how it's gone down in the past. What we'll probably do is that day at sea, we'll do our award ceremony. We'll have some dedicated space on the ship somewhere, and we'll do our award ceremony and our payout and have a good time there. Lots of laughs will ensue. Lots of beverages will be consumed. It'll be a good time. And then, so depending on how it all lays out, I mean, the funny part is that with so many ports, we're probably going to have to get a lot of our clinics and things done early in the week on that day at sea, and possibly even the first day when we are on the way out of port. Excuse me. So we're going to be doing clinics. Definitely. The ladies, Des and Val, would be heading up something more ladies specific. And then, Jay and Nate will definitely, Jay's strong suit is putting. He always seems to want to do a putting clinic, and we'll see. I've already been on this ship, so we should have a pretty good knowledge of getting around, but they do have some areas we may be able to use to do some drives into some netting, some things like that. It could be kind of cool. There's all types of onboard activities. I believe on every single one of the cruises before, there were some the big swimming pools with the big it's next to the kids area, but they got these awesome slides, and they would do slide races within the disc golf group. They'd launch at the same time and come down, and I'm sure there was gambling involved and all that fun stuff. There was multiple folks that would do the belly flop contest. That was always entertaining. So definitely lots going on. And Jay and Des have done a great job in the past of setting up activities when we're in port. One of the ones, two that come to mind, they had actually went and did a bunch of research. One year our port was San Juan, Puerto Rico. I think I said that wrong, Puerto Rico. And they did a great job and led us through old downtown San Juan, which eventually culminated out at El Morro, the big fort out on the coast. And they were basically awesome tour guides. Another year in Grand Turk, they ended up getting a hold of some guy that owned a bar down a little further down the beach. It was a little bit of a walk, but we had the whole bar pretty much to ourselves for most of the day. We ran a big can jam tournament out on the beach. I think there were some sunburns that happened as well, and some good times ensued there too. I believe I was runner-up in that can jam tournament. Definitely a disappointing finish for me.
Again, for those keeping score at home, Mike was runner-up.
You and I have done a lot of things.
Yes, we have. Some of which we shouldn't talk about.
No, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've heard Terry say any port in a storm before, but we've never gone on a cruise together.
No. Are you asking me now?
No.
Because I would let you be the sugar daddy you spoke of earlier in the broadcast.
That's not happening.
It could. We'll talk about it.
Maybe there's an angle in there. Maybe we need a media crew, gentlemen.
I think you do. I would love to be to report back in via Skype. You're here.
Yep.
I'll report in Tuesday night. We'll have to do our podcast. I'll do it right from the cruise ship. I think people can get behind that idea. There's internet. You just got to pay for it, I bet.
I was going to say, I can't imagine what that internet costs, and it's got to be worse than what I have here. It might be better than Time Warner Cable here for all I know.
All right. So we'll figure out those details because I think you're going to need media. I say it all the time. People can talk about you can have the biggest event and the best event on the planet. If there's not photos and video to market it and to share it with people, no one cares except for the 100 people that are there. I'm just saying, Mike. All right.
I'm with you, T-Dog.
Let's get to what everyone really wants to know. They were mad I cut you off when you were talking about something regarding alcohol, but you've struck up some pretty serious pricing, disc golf rich, as we like to say, some disc golf rich and disc golfer friendly pricing for everything that you're talking about. Let's get to the brass tacks here. What do people need to know?
Let's do it. Really, in the past, I've basically told people it's about $100 a day per person, which will get you a hotel that drives you around on the ocean and feeds you, which is a pretty good deal in its own right. When you're cruising, cruising is one of the most cost-effective ways to vacation, if you really think about it. But what's great here is we're looking at this ship. A little different than ships we've been on in the past. There's no what we would call like middle class type of room. There's the inside, the interior, which has no windows or no doors. No, just kidding. It has doors. It has no windows.
You either get the Kate Winslet or
the
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. They drop you down into four walls. Just drop you in there. They have the interior, the inside cabins, and then they go right to balconies. There is no just ocean on this particular ship. So let's get to it. The official number is not nailed down. It will be tomorrow, but we've been looking at $8.49 per person.
American dollars?
American U.S. currency.
Okay,
yeah,
that's it. Okay.
Federal Reserve notes, I believe they're called.
Okay.
And that's going to be we cue up that drum machine again. That's going to include your cruise, your port charges and taxes, which everybody has to pay, and includes you can upgrade certain restaurants on board. You can go. We did the Cirque du Soleil show. It was an extra charge, but it was a good time. So there's some opportunities to upgrade. But that includes all your food. And with our group, for the first time ever, they have given us what's called the ultimate beverage package. And that means every single person that goes on the cruise will have unlimited beverages.
Yes,
so,
that means umbrellas. Yes, I get umbrellas in my drinks.
The funny thing.
Now there's one little caveat. It's I believe it says up to $15 drink. So I don't know, maybe that big monkey head or pineapple drink, or
sure.
that might be a little bit out of reach for some off the chart.
The yardstick margarita.
Yeah, the yardstick. Yeah, exactly. So the good news is I did some preliminary legwork on this cruise and tried a variety of beverages to test out the pricing schedule.
I like that.
And every single cocktail and beverage that I had was absolutely under the $15 mark. So if you're getting into some fine cognacs or whiskeys or some giant, beverages with, like I said, straws and fruit and umbrellas and all that stuff, you may end up paying a little bit, but it's absolutely. So here's the kicker. If you were going on a cruise and wanted to buy the ultimate beverage package, it would cost $1,300 because Norwegian doesn't allow just one person in the cabin to buy it, meaning so then one person buys it and then two people drink for free all week. So one person gets it, they have to charge both. So it's literally, after taxes and everything, I think it's close to $1,400 in value. So it's a pretty big kicker right there. Not that disc golfers need any reason to drink more than they should. And the other part is if you haven't cruised before, you're expected to tip your stateroom attendant. So, and that is usually on this particular cruise, I think it was just under $100, $95 for the week to tip your stateroom attendant. So per person or per cabin, again, it's about $200, $190. That is also covered in that fee.
Wow.
So you're getting, besides the cruise and all the food you can muster, now it's beverages and your tips included for that rate. So it's absolutely a spectacular deal. If you're looking at the balcony, which I highly recommend, we're looking at $1,249 a person in that ballpark. Now, the good news on the numbers I just gave you is once they settle in the system tomorrow, there's actually a really good chance they could be a little bit lower. So until we get the details back in the morning from the agency, we're going to be that's kind of the prelim numbers that came through the system. So cannot even believe these prices. I remember doing some others in the past for right around the same price, the 770, 800, maybe not quite 800, but it literally included, I think at the time we were able to give a room credit, $50 or $100, something like that, and a free picture from the, you get into every 10 minutes you're walking around a boat, they're begging you to take your picture and whatnot, kind of like at Disney there, Johnny. Watch out for those.
I was just gonna say, I will take your picture once a day, every day for just $10 for the week. And if we get enough disc golfers, I should break even then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was
Downloadable at the end of the week.
I was
USB
saying
drive.
on the board, I'm going on a 3-day, or is it 4-night, 3-day, something like that, cruise for Disney, and it's running us like $3,500 for the family, and we're not like, we're not in the baller balcony rooms, so this is
Wow.
this is a really good deal. So
Yeah, it's spectacular. I was blown away when they gave us a list of amenities to choose from, and I was like, no brainer. That's a deal right there. Just because one of the things they do, and it's understandable, just like any captive audience going to a concert or anything like that, the price is a little bit higher. And I think part of the battle, having some experience doing these cruises over the years, and I may or may not be guilty, was smuggling a little bit on to keep your costs down. And I like to enjoy a cocktail or three, but by no means is it gonna, I've got plenty of work cut out for me to do. I still got to be a TD. I still got to set up a course, tear down a course. I got to go get sunburnt and all that other stuff. So, we're pretty excited that, this kind of nips that in the bud. People don't have to worry about throwing a couple cases of beer into their extra suitcase or a couple bottles of rum. And by the way, if you're going to do that, vodka rum, don't put it in a mouthwash bottle. It just tastes like mouthwash when you're done with it.
So you've heard.
it sounds like experience that he's speaking
So
from.
he's heard.
It was a friend. I will say that.
Okay.
It was a friend. And mixed with cranberry juice, not so much. So, and for those that don't drink alcoholic beverages, this also includes the unlimited soda and coffee and things like that. They still will charge you for pop, as I like to call it, from where I grew up. Pop and any type of non-alcoholic beverage if you want a soda or a pop.
Wow, that's crazy. And not that we need to be nitpicky. It doesn't really matter, but that's crazy that they're more inclined to charge you for basically soft drinks, even with this package. That just seems backwards. Hey, I'd rather you be drinking a fountain Coke than a drink, right? Is that what you're saying? They charge you for?
No, it's included.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that
Yeah.
all soft drinks are
If you
also
don't
included.
drink alcohol.
Okay. I was totally lost there. I was like,
I was confused. I'm looking at you like, I don't know what he's getting at
no,
here.
I thought you were just said they'll charge you for a pop, and I was like,
Just say if you don't buy any type of package. A lot of the cruise lines, what they do is they will charge you for one of these Tervis-like beverages with a lid, and it's got their Carnival or Royal Caribbean, and it's $40 or $35 or $40, and then it's unlimited soda. So, but they're still getting you for $40 for Coke and
Sure.
juice and whatnot. So, tea and coffee and water are free, of course. But yeah, this covers all beverages, alcoholic or non. And somebody said, "Take my money now."
yeah. Well,
Some of these people will buy $849 in alcohol for 7 days.
exactly. So
I'm not
the
joking.
cruise is free. The cruise is free. You
That is
should.
nowhere near the record that I have seen, and the record I saw for a bar tab was over $2,000 for the week.
Well, I think you need to remarket this. This is a disc golf cruise that's free with $849 of alcohol purchased.
Yeah.
I think you might be
That's
honest. So we'll get to it. So $849 is essentially the base price that includes all these things you guys have worked in, which is awesome. For a non
Period. At the balcony, just to be clear.
for a non-balcony spot, as early as tomorrow afternoon. I think you said 2 p.m. or so. People can make deposits or reservations. They're chomping at the bit here. They want to know.
Yes, this is the gift that keeps on giving, Terry Miller.
Oh.
This is $100, $50 per person holds a cabin.
Okay.
And let me give you some of the numbers here. So that's until March 12th. So you have until March 12th. If we make it to March 12th, we have 90 spots in the tournament. That is what determines if the cruise is full or not. When the protocol is going to be, and I'll give the information out here and just after we're done with this a little bit here, we're going to do $100 holds a cabin. We have 90 tournament spots. We typically end up right around 130 or 140 total people in the group. A lot of times we get a family that comes and only dad's playing, or dad and the son are playing, and mom's just along for the ride, that type of thing. So we end up with generally 30 or 40 to 50 extra folks in addition. Now, that could change. We could see as little as 100, 120, 125, but 90 tournament spots as per, 5 per hole, 18 holes for our layout. And after March 12th, that deposit goes to $250 per person, because at that point, a lot of the folks that have already put down a deposit in January have probably made a couple of payments. So all that is doing is kind of bringing it up to speed, if you will, with that deposit. You have until, I'm going to look over to my wife, and October 17th, I believe, was.
I think October 12th, maybe it has to be paid for.
12th or 17th. Maybe I'll scan these documents I have here.
Yeah, it's usually 3 to 4 months ahead of time is when you need to make your final payment.
Final payment. Yep, exactly. And I'm scanning through here. I'll look through. Cindy's going to jump on the email and see if that info's in there. But basically, you have until October. So if you're getting in now in January and getting your $100 down, you've got all the way until October to come up with it. So if you get on a plan, you just
get on a plan. Trust me on this. You don't want to come. You don't want it to be January 11th and your cruise is in April, and suddenly you realize you have a $2,500 bill.
Yeah. So just confirmed, October 17th, final payment is due. And one thing to remember too, it doesn't sound like a lot, or maybe something to skip, or you go to Best Buy and you get the TV and they want to sell you the insurance plan. I highly recommend spending the extra, few bucks. It's not expensive to get the cruise insurance, because if something happens and you're after final payment, it's the only way you're going to get a refund. So just keep that in mind when you're booking. Ask about the insurance. It's really, you're getting such a great deal on this cruise, and the value is there. And so you don't overlook something as minor as that. It's really, just a little thing that can go a long way.
Okay. So, as early as tomorrow, you're going to give a phone number. We'll get it posted.
So if you want to keep track of what's going on, if you just go to discgolfcruise.com.
Oh, how clever.
Oh.
How clever.
That's a fancy lower third.
That'll take us right to our Facebook page. That is where our primary meeting spot, if you will. All updates and information will be there. We're going to be creating an event page probably tomorrow and going live with all that type of stuff. And that just kind of keeps, everybody on the same track. You can ask questions there, obviously, and follow all. What's really nice is there are a bunch of folks that have done the previous cruises that are on there and can provide, insight. And I hope that the pictures start up again, posting some of the pictures from the older cruises, because we had a really good time. What do you want to do? You want to give away the number to call tomorrow?
Sure. Starting at 2 p.m. Eastern?
2 p.m. Eastern. And let me preface this whole thing to say that while I was listening to Steve Dodge, I checked in on the post that we made today on our Facebook page for the Disc Golf Cruise, and it had been viewed nearly 13,000 times and had something in the realm of close to 80 shares, and whoever knows how many tons of comments and whatnot. So the reality is, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about the disc golf climate being very warm and friendly right now. We've got a lot more people playing than we did in 2011. Social media is such a big part of our lives than it was in 2011, way bigger. This word is going to spread like wildfire. I hope it sells out tomorrow. I think that what's going to happen is people are going to inundate. So be patient. The biggest key is to, if you get the voicemail, leave the voicemail. Our friend over there, Cindy Timoney, who's going to be handling this, and she will have an assistant as well on this. But if you can imagine potentially 400 or 500 people calling all at once tomorrow, just leave your message. Leave a message, and go to. Oh yeah, I said that already. Go to the Facebook page.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. So
it says go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, actually, even one better. But just be patient in the whole, this is about vacation and a good time.
You'll get in.
If you leave a message and you're in order and you're ready to buy, you're going to get in. So, and then we're going to go ahead and do this. We'll leave this up for a little while.
all right.
So that phone number for those of you listening in the audio version is 1-800-834-5138, extension 530. That's Cindy Timoney.
And I'm going to repeat that because he said it wrong. 800.834.5183, extension 530. Still Cindy, but it's, again, 800-834-5183, extension 530 for Cindy. So that is the number. Call in, be patient, as Mike said. Mike, also, just to firm up, a question on the board was the tournament entry fees. You're going to get that all squared away on a slightly separate note, but that is not included in any of the deposit or anything like that. That's something that you're going to take care of separately
just
from
another
the...
exciting part about it. We are partnering with Innova Champion Discs on this. They are going to provide us with a unbelievable players package. So what you're going to do is, once your room is reserved, your cabin, excuse me, Cindy or her assistant will give you the link to go register for the tournament and the password to go register for the tournament. The tournament entry is for all divisions, $99. And will include a minimum value players pack of $125. I've got a lot of cool things planned. Nothing I can reveal tonight. Maybe that's a show for another day. But definitely some things in the works. And it's nice to, Innova's. I've already put them on a couple of tasks, if you will, to investigate pricing on some really cool ideas. And of course, we'll have all kinds of good, fun stuff to get in. Now, I think another cool component is we're offering, once you sign up for the tournament, you can actually opt in for a tour series / fundraiser disc from each of our 4 hosts.
Oh, nice.
So they've got some really cool things planned. You could imagine that maybe Bevel Beer might be involved at some level with Nate and Val being on board. You can imagine some really cool stuff coming down from Jay and Des. Des has a Tour Series disc now. Jay has his putter. So I think some really cool things can come out of that. So, and Innova's going to really take care of us. We're going to be using the very carrying friendly, toting around friendly Innova Traveler targets. They weigh about 15 pounds, and it's very conducive for getting 18 of them off the ship at once and then onto the island via tender boat. And not only that, but we'll have T signs and other stuff to carry. So the Traveler basket has been a bit of a lifesaver for us. So we're really happy to have those available. Innova working on a players pack, and of course some other cool things. We're going to be doing a doubles event before we sail, so get some more discussion and get some more activity. But yeah, I'm really pumped about how it all came together. Just seems to be a whole lot more value we can give back to our group. And it's a really, really fun time. I mean, I'm kind of glad I thought of it. So
Val is out on the board calling everyone out and says, so who wants to come party on a 7-day cruise with Jay, Des, Nate, and I? So and there'll be other people like,
I was gonna say,
like Barnett. But.
Well, when we've seen, and I can't say she's gonna sign up for sure, but we saw Sarah Holcomb out on the board, and seemed like she was deadly interested in it as well.
She wanted to know when she could, how soon she could sign up. So, yes, very exciting. Lots of buzz around this. And to answer Brady, yes, the mention of the cruise cost has been $850 as one of your starting price points, and that includes the unlimited yet reasonable drinking package, if there's such a thing. Is that an oxymoron? But that includes the drinking package, and then the tournament, as Mike just mentioned, $99 with a very hefty player pack and collaboration with Innova Champion Disc. So some really good stuff there.
To clarify, what's that, Johnny?
I was going to say, someone on the board just said, Brady, it's $1,700, and you get to have me come for free. So well played.
Yes.
Who needs enemies when you got friends like that?
That's right.
But I wanted to clarify, too, there's still going to be, as part of the tournament, we're still going to have a payout on top of the players pack. We should have a little bit of funds left over, so there'll be a payout and an enormous players pack. One thing I didn't mention yet is there's a new concept that this ship has, and I don't know how industry-wide this is, if there's other cruise lines doing it, but there is a section of the boat designed for single cruisers, where in the past, a lot of times we're forced to pair folks together so they weren't paying a single rate, because if you're a single person in a cabin, you're paying the entire cabin, or maybe it's 1.5 times, something like that. So it's much, much more expensive for a single cruiser to go. And now do we have some reserved?
They will price them.
Yeah, that's right. So they can't block them as part of our group. But if you call in and you just want to, if you're running solo, you don't have your wingman with you, and it's really cool because it's a dedicated part of the ship where they have their own singles lounge area, and then all the cabins kind of extend off there.
Or you can check Terry's website, cruisesinglemingles.com.
Cruising mingles singles.
Terry will find you a roommate.
Looks like about 200 pictures posted already from.
Thank you, Henry Tyndall.
Henry and Robin Tyndall.
Yes, awesome. Posting, as Mike has encouraged, please go out to discgolfcruise.com, which will bring you to facebook.com/discgolfcruise, and upload and post your pictures. Tell everyone, one of your favorite stories. Hopefully those pictures are Facebook appropriate or not. But post your stories about the previous cruises that you've been on. It's obviously a pretty awesome opportunity. I'm going to say this, and I know you've touched on it a number of times. We're in a very different time than 2001, and I think with social media, with how much more Facebook and podcasts and everything else have progressed, I'm worried you're going to be sold out within the next day or two. Is there going to be a hard limit? Yes, 90 on the participation, but will there be an overall hard limit as to how many people can get on board with this?
Yeah, I mean, here's another facet that probably lots of folks don't know or think about. Like, so the course isn't designed yet. I spent a couple hours on the island, as I mentioned earlier, with one of the island managers and one of the execs from Norwegian. Someone has to go back to the private island and design it. So,
fine, I'll go.
Man.
I'll go. I'll join you. We'll vlog that as well.
I'm sure there's going to be a ton of volunteers
I bet.
to fill the position. But as it stands now, I looking at 18 holes. So yeah, we would probably, have to, cross that bridge when we get there. see if we could add more holes, so forth and so on. The good news is, I'm looking at the itinerary. We're there for we are there for 9 hours, give or take. So it says 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but there's definitely some morning tendering of crew and staff off first. That probably falls in that 8 o'clock window. So, I don't know how we could, for example, go into 24 holes or something like that, because we're potentially adding an hour to the length of the round and things like that, and we still have to get people done. They serve lunch on the island. They have a huge building, huge buffet, and we've learned that we definitely want to be finished so that people can grab that before they get back on the ship, because if you skip lunch and you're out on the island all day, it could make for one of those stories that we're either going to laugh or cry at. So.
Okay. Oh, well, I think we should stop promoting and selling it here, because I'm worried you're going to sell it too quickly.
I'm going to have to take this portion of the podcast. I'm going to release it tomorrow, because if not, then some of our listeners might miss out. So I'm going to take your portion and make sure that this gets out tomorrow for everybody.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. It's a great thought on that. And we'll just have to take it all in. And I would say too, if you're don't be afraid to I could see the possibility of a wait list, is my point. So just like as if we talked about Throw Down the Mountain earlier, 1 year we had, I believe, close to 100 people on the wait list, and we whittled it down to 60 or 70. So it's possible. It happens. So don't just be cordial, be polite. Leave your name and number. Someone will call you back. Again, I can imagine with interested folks, and only 90 spots. So go ahead and let's get on board and let's do this thing.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we are. I think we've got all the details that we need, and there's certainly plenty of excitement. Check out discgolfcruise.com. That will give you some more details and some pictures and other information that's needed. Starting at 2 p.m. on January 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern, as we can call in. Yep, Eastern time, which is when you can call in and put down your reservation and get involved with the Disc Golf
$50 a
Cruise.
person right now.
$50 a person, is that what you said? $100 overall for the deposit?
Yeah, $100, and then after March 12th, should we get there, that it goes up to $250.
Okay.
So yeah, $100 per cabin, get your foot in the door.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it, people.
We've got a bunch of world champs and along with the staff and amazing people over at Sun King and Beyond, all looking to have you join them, and maybe it gets vlogged or put out there on the internet so people can see it live or recorded. All right, Mike, we're going to cut you loose. We've got some pretty crazy news about someone else not having quite the travel day. Not exactly a good day on a cruise for Mr. McBeth. We might be talking about him here in just a few moments. So have a great night, Mike, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
So Cubs, hashtag Disc Golf Cruise. We'll see you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Good night. So as I was just mentioning, I in fact have reached out to one stranded Paul McBeth.
Is he truly stranded?
Well, let's get some details. I'm going to show you this, Johnny, so maybe you can bring it up. If you can type that in. Paul has graciously let me know that we can reach him via a new Skype account, and we're going to see if we can get some updated details. I know normally this isn't that big of news. Where in the world is Paul McBeth? But many of you saw earlier today, he made a post and said, well, that sucks. I think those were the 3 words.
Yeah.
And he went on to talk a little bit about, basically it was mentioned that there was some flight issues with him trying to get overseas, and we're going to see if we can hit him up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If you want to try and dial him up.
I just added him as a contact, so
okay.
if I can.
We'll see.
Try to call him.
Ready. We'll see if he's in fact ready. This is all off the cuff, so to speak.
No, there's no way we can get a hold of Paul. He's on a plane.
Oh.
Right?
Or a cruise ship.
Or a cruise ship. Oh.
I'm not sure about that. We'll see if we can get audio and or video, or maybe it just might be audio in this case. Paul, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I hit video. Oh, I see half of you guys.
Oh, hopefully the good
I see
half.
a right and a left arm.
Oh, nice. We can. Hey.
Well, we don't see you yet. If we all of a sudden see some video, we'll pull it in for our viewers. But real quickly, thanks for taking the time. But where are you and what's going on?
Oh, there you are. I am currently driving. I think I'm about to enter Virginia here in a second.
That seems like the long way over to Australia.
Yeah, it's definitely Australia's been it's been an adventure, that's for sure. I guess I could just start sharing the story about it.
Let's hear it.
Australia.
The
What- yeah,
Smashbox exclusive.
What's going on?
Well, originally it was supposed to be Nate Sexton, myself, and my brother Jonathan. We all booked our tickets back in like early December, and then some events happened with Nate, and he had to pull out of the event. So so we were down to 2 men, and then up until yesterday, my brother and I, we were all good to go. We were gonna get up early Tuesday morning. So this morning we got up early, and yesterday he got an email about his visa for Australia, and they told him it was denied. So
Wow.
the day before we were supposed to leave, he was told that he wasn't allowed to go. So we tried everything the last day, 2 days, and we got to the airport. We had to drive 4 hours down to Charlotte, and they're like, all right, you can't go, sorry. So,
Wow. So visa, not passport, but a visa issue.
a visa, yep. So, and it's the only country I think we travel to out of the U.S. that we need one. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that kind of screwed up his plans, and fortunate enough, him and his girlfriend came from Nashville actually to go to the airport in Charlotte to fly out as well. So I mean, they made like a 7-hour trip
Oh my goodness.
and got denied. Yeah, so he had to go back home, but it was nice to see him and spend some time with him. But he'll be back in Nashville for a little bit, and then I went through clean, just no problems, no issues. Was sitting on the plane, we were getting ready to depart, and then they were loading up all the luggage, and apparently there's a lock for it, and they dropped it and lost it. So they lost the part or broke the part, and that was that. So we sat on the plane for about an hour and a half to 2 hours while they tried to fix it, and then they couldn't. So they had to get another part, but it was a few hours away. And so they took us off the plane. They told us that anyone that's going international is going to miss their connecting flight. So I was like, okay, that's no big deal. Whatever, I'm going to get there early. Well, apparently I was flying Emirates, and I guess they're going strictly to Dubai. And Dubai to Perth only has one connecting flight per day. And they were booked for like the next 3 or 4 days
Oh.
at least. Yeah, so that kind of ruined my trip.
So are you not going to be going at all? Are you just going to be going and getting there at the last minute?
At this moment in time, I am 99% not going.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's too much. Like, I went there 2 years ago, and it takes a while to acclimate to it. The heat, the time difference, 13-hour time difference is difficult. And then doing that is, it's tough. So, I mean, with only, if I even, and then the 2 days of travel to get there minimum, you leave on a Monday, you get there Wednesday. That's next day tournament. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not gonna work out for me.
Wow. With everything you just said, I mean, it sounds cliche, but maybe it wasn't meant to be with all of those other challenges.
Yeah, with as many problems as you've had getting there, there's
It seems like there was an omen
Yeah.
of some sort for you not to be there. And it's crazy because
Yeah.
we've seen so many people
Um,
posting, Nico and Ricky and Philo and Barsby, all people I saw, just today posting about their going. I thought I saw Avery Jenkins, had made his pit stop and then was already over there or was traveling. All these people are posting about going, and you're right in the mix of that. And even, I'll admit, even I thought, wow, it seems kind of early. The event's not for like 9 days.
Yeah.
But
Is
for
it
all
still
those
working?
reasons you just said.
Okay.
yeah, we're still working.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just had to put my GPS on, so.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I was just saying we saw these people posting and talking about going, and even I thought it was early, but you just listed all the reasons why you weren't really even that early right now. You were probably right where you needed to be time-wise, and it's just still not going to work out. Have you had conversations with, I'll go right to sponsors and UC and those types. Have you had any conversations with anyone else?
Well, UC got delayed in wherever his stop is for 13 hours, and they had to to give him a hotel because he got delayed. Yeah, like I said, 13 hours, and that's if he catches his flight. He won't get there till Friday, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him because he's been the whole.
You're breaking up a little bit, Paul. It sounds like your audio is probably cutting out. Skype on the road is never the best.
No, unfortunately,
connection.
I'm not sure if you can hear us. If you did have your video button clicked, you can turn that off because we're not receiving any video from you anyway.
Yeah,
So
we can go straight audio.
we're going to stand down for just a moment and see if we get Paul back on the call or not. We may or may not have good connection from him. Unfortunately, it sounds like he's had a pretty long and intense day. In the meantime,
What? Wow, that is unfortunate. I mean, because you gotta assume, like you said, it's 9 days away. I mean, that's plenty of time. But when you assume the extra 3 to 4 days for the connecting flight to Dubai, I thought he said, and then on top of that, getting there once a day, which is already booked out. Like he's not getting there until the weekend. That gives him 4 days to get ready, maybe.
yeah, and then you're talking about just obviously the entire shift in terms of time zones.
Yeah, I mean he's completely flip flopped.
Yeah, so that is crazy to see, and I'm trying to catch up on the board. I guess one of the funnier ones. Solid work there by Jordan Lee on the board, who says he should have flown Supreme Flight. Which I like that one, Jordan. That was a good one.
Kevin McCoy says there's no way he's winning the Amazing Race either. So
no,
not the guy you want to partner with.
No, does not seem. Good news is he might be home and available to book himself for the disc golf cruise tomorrow. I mean,
there you go.
I don't know if that's a silver lining or not, but wow. So yeah, so I'm not sure again if we're going to get him back or not. I'll see if there's any messages here from him. He may just be in an area, as he said, he's driving back to Virginia. He's got an apartment in Virginia.
Yep.
Crazy, like,
Yeah.
and some may joke or not so jokingly say, so much of the events seem like, with heavy emphasis from Discmania, who's helping put on the events, and Innova. You hear people say things like it's the Paul and Simon show, and we're going to see, not seeing Simon back yet
Or Paul
for this event this year, but Paul obviously being the a flagship player, and one that's heavily promoted as he should be in terms of the World Tour.
It opens the door quite a bit for Ricky to get a major.
Well, I'll say for anyone,
I'm
it helps out, but
of course, but
just
I'm
the fact that he's just not there. I wasn't even
he's not there, and Ricky is the next, so to speak, top elite player that everyone would put their money on. So
wow. That is crazy. So we'll see if we can get him back, if he's got anything else for us. But I'm a little shocked. And again, normally trying to catch up with a player who's driving isn't that big of a deal to us. But this is pretty serious news to see him make the post that he did earlier today, and then to actually have this outcome. And as I've quoted on my Facebook as he said it, I want to go back with exactly how he said it. At this moment in time, I am 99% not going. So, yeah, we'll see if there's that 1% that changes anything or not. But odds aren't looking too good for him.
That's really, I mean, that sucks for so many reasons. I mean, that sucks for the event, because I'm sure the event has promoted, Paul McBeth being there. It's a big, it's one of those Ricky
it's those
versus
opportunities too.
It's Ricky versus Paul event. I mean, it sucks for Paul, the fact that that's a major.
Yes,
that
correct.
he is not going to get a chance to even win, and there's all sorts of implications. That there's bonus implications. There's financial implications. There's this and that.
It's going to be hard to get a McSlam if you're not McThere.
Yeah, blame McEmirates.
Something. He says he has service now. We're welcome to try him back. We may try him one more time if it works. We can catch up a little bit more with him. We won't hold him on too much longer, regardless, but we'll see if there's any other final thoughts that we can get from him. I don't know if anyone else has other questions. But yeah, wow.
Hello?
Hey,
Okay,
Paul, we're back. We're not going to do video. I think it's easier if we just do audio.
Okay.
Yeah, so, someone had just mentioned on the board, our good friend Hole 5 Guy said that you were going to be featured in the first round. What implications does this have? I mean, you as a player, a promoter, an ambassador for so many, for the Innova brand. What does this mean for you in terms of some lost opportunities?
I don't think it's losing opportunities at all, minus, the chance to win a major and be in Australia. This is one of the hardest ones anyways, I think, to get to and to promote, just because of the timing itself. Being in January at the beginning of the year before, the season usually kicks off in like late February with the Vegas and Memorial. So this has always been a tough one to, like I said, promote, be at, get people excited, because most of the country, the U.S. is still covered in snow or just freezing, can't even play. So it's hard to say that I'm missing out, or, that I'm losing out on stuff by missing this, besides the fact that it's a major and it's, it is a great fun tournament to be at, but it's so hard to get to.
Yeah, and there's some questions on the board. Were you obligated in terms of any kind of promotional stuff or demos or clinics or disc signings or store appearances? Did you have any of those obligations for this event?
Not that I know of. I was supposed to be there for a promotional day and stuff like that, but I mean, you can't really fault me for this, or
no,
fault anyone for it if it happened to them. It's unfortunate events that happen. So, it's just
and that's where I was getting more than anything, in terms of missed opportunities, is if, I know sometimes when you've been overseas, you have just as many days doing promotional activities as you do actually playing, but it doesn't sound like your itinerary was that jam-packed with those things in Australia.
No, not at all. It's so long, so much traveling. Like at least four days are spent traveling, if not 5. So if you're gone for 2 weeks, you're really only there 8 days. So it's hard to squeeze in all that promotion and then practice and then the tournament itself in such a short time period, unless you're there for 3 or 4 weeks. So I think UC kind of understands that, and the Disc Golf World Tour crew, so they kind of try to hold back on that. But I wish I could be there and to do all that and promote disc golf in Australia. But I mean, there's going to be a lot more talent there this year than there was 2 years ago, so I don't see it being too much of an issue for the crew to put something great on.
No, we certainly have a deeper field than what you played against a few years ago. So the competition level is going to be strong, despite you not being there, of course. But a lot of people view this event, I mean, they know it's expensive. There's a lot of travel, as you just mentioned. but some people almost view it a little bit as a vacation. When we talked to a Madison Walker, for instance, a few weeks ago, she, really gave that implication. But for you, this was more business than anything, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was going over there with one purpose, and that was to win. So to not be able to go kind of sucks for that matter. I mean, I think this is the first major I'll be missing since 2010 or 11 or something like that. So yeah, it'll be. I don't know. It won't be fun. I don't know if I'll watch, unfortunately. But
Yeah, that's got to be tough for you, knowing seeing that happen without you. It's not even because you physically can't play due to an injury. It's just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, it sucks. But I wish the best for all of them and that they enjoy it. I know it's an awesome place and great area to be at, so they'll definitely enjoy it. None of them will leave unsatisfied, that's for sure.
Well, and you also brought home one of the most unique trophies we've ever seen as well a couple of years ago, and maybe not so great for traveling, but that was a really unique trophy that you brought home a few years ago.
Yeah, the didgeridoo. I didn't even get a chance to really play it because it broke on the way back.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, so some.
Wow, this is just a lot of upbeat, fun talk about the Australian Open
yeah.
today.
So I was going to say I want to take a quick look at the registration and see if there's anything else that you may know of that we're not privy to. I didn't realize the sexting conversation. Some people were just asking me about Dave Fehlberg, and I didn't really think he was going to be there because I know this weekend I'm going to see him in Arizona. So if anyone thought Dave Fehlberg was going to be there, that's a bet I would have went against any day because Dave's still in Arizona all the way through Sunday running a tournament. So let's see.
He's not going to be there?
No, by all accounts, no. And it looks like he is no longer on the registration list. I know he was at one point, but as we'll discuss right when we're done with you, yeah, I'm going to be at one point in Arizona covering an event. Dave Fehlberg's the tournament director for it, and it happens on Saturday and Sunday. So there was, in my eyes, no legitimate way that Dave Fehlberg was going to get out of that. Be at the tournament in Arizona and then Sunday or Monday be flying out to Australia. What were the days? What are the days of play that people would have expected for Australia?
I'm assuming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is a major. So.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So we're expecting four. Well, PDGA hasn't updated the list yet. No. Obviously we see Wysocki, and I just did a simple rating sort. You being the highest rated player there at 1051. Wysocki 1049. Manabu at 1029. Nico at 1029. Eagle McMahon at 1025. Your now teammate Jeremy Colling 1024. And then Philo, Barsby, Avery, and Pasi Koivu. So those are all your 1,000+ rated players.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very similar to 2 years ago. I think there might be one or two more 1,000 rated players there because 2 years ago I remember it was Doss, Ricky, Fehlberg, Simon, myself. I think we're the top 5 players there, and then maybe one or two. So it's got like three players deeper.
Okay. Yeah. And does a longer thrower have any distinct advantage? Obviously, there's some people clamoring on the board that Eagles got it already wrapped up, but is there any style that you feel like has any kind of advantage on that course? Would you dare make a pick for the top 3 players right now?
Can you say them again?
The top, I'll read off the top. We've got Wysocki, Manabu, Nico, Eagle, Colling, Brathwaite, Barsby, Jenkins, and Pasi Koivu.
I think top 3 in no order would be Germ, Rick, Eagle. It's it's a lot of elevation change, like sneaky elevation change, because you can't really see it on film because it's always so dry out there. But it's a lot of elevation change, and a longer thrower is rewarded if you can control your shots in the wind, because it does get pretty windy out there because you are in the desert, it seems like, you know. But yeah, I think those three will probably be the closest to the top.
Okay, fair enough. That's something for everyone to think about as they're making their picks. So dare we ask, have you thought about what you're going to do for the next 6 or 8 or 10 days? More practice, more putting?
Yeah, I think, well, Hannah was supposed to be going up to Boston. She was supposed to fly. She actually just bought her ticket today to go to Boston and go back home and visit her family while I was in Australia. So I might just drive up there with her and go up there for a few days and then just go out to California a little bit sooner than anticipated, go visit my family. And then I have a lot of, honestly, I have quite a bit to go out and film in California, you know, due to that old cancellation, and then more sports shows I got contacted by, which is really cool. So that's more exciting stuff that I don't even know all the details about, but I know I have to do that when I get back.
Okay.
Well, when you get details, you know where to share them.
Yeah, it's some kind of Fox, something related with Fox. So.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got yourself. You'll be plenty occupied with all the other things
Yeah.
that you have going on.
Yeah, this seems like it was kind of, you know, like we said earlier, that it was kind of destined to all the events that went on, and my plate was so full in such a short amount of time. But you know, it seems like it was meant to be, or it was meant to happen this way. So I'm not really bitter about it or sad about it, because I do have so much other stuff going on right now. It's just unfortunate, but you know, there's a whole year ahead, so
Of
you know,
course.
it's something
Yep.
I just get more time to prepare for.
On a slightly random, more technical side, does the airline will they hold a voucher, so to speak, for you? Will they refund you? Has any of that conversation been talked about?
Yeah, I'm not too happy about it. I've already spent over $1,000 just in cancellation fees to not go to Australia. So
Oh,
it's not because
they were willing to
the visa
make
with
you. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I had to cancel my brother's flight because his visa got denied. So that was like $500 worth of cancellation fees, and then mine was when I booked it, they booked 2 separate one-ways because I booked it through a travel site. So they booked the cheapest one. It was 2 one-ways. So
Okay.
they refunded me for the first one, but then they made me pay a cancellation fee on the second one. And then Nate having to cancel his was another like $500. So it was an
Wow.
expensive trip not to go on.
I was saying that's an
Wow.
expensive non-vacation you just took.
Yes.
Oh.
If you ever want to throw away money, you could just throw it our way.
Yeah.
All right.
Patreon.com.
We're not making light, but yeah, it sounds like if anything, there's a lot of us others can learn from your experience here, and that's going to have to be the takeaway, unfortunately. All right, Paul. Well,
Yep. So
any parting shots, any silver lining you want to share with us here tonight before we let you go?
no, just I'm just excited to get the year started. You know, this isn't how I expected it to start, but you know, I'll just roll with the punches and take it, and just be ready for California and Vegas and Memorial, and then getting ready for the year. So I'm excited to get that going and hopefully announce some new sponsors soon, or old sponsors, new stuff. That's my goal. So
All right.
more time to work on some interesting things.
Well, we're excited to hear about them, and as always, we'll take the VIP McBeth call in anytime. We're again sorry to hear of all the unfortunate circumstances, but thank you so much for sharing with the world everything that's going on. And
We have you on for such great reasons usually, so we're just trying to balance it out a little bit
yes,
here.
yeah.
Oh, you gotta get the good, bad, the ugly.
That's
I don't
right.
mind.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you sharing with us. All right, pal. Well, we're going to cut it loose. We're going to head into the after show in a little while, but thanks for the insights. Travel safely the rest of your way back, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right,
See you
thank
guys.
you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks.
That sucks.
Yeah, I wish there was another way to say it. But
I mean, just flat out. I mean, yeah, he's going to miss the event. I mean, just the money. I mean, his brother's ticket, Nate's ticket, his ticket. Like, they picked him off one at a time.
Yeah.
Like it was a bad horror movie.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate all around, and yeah, just it's so crazy to think it's that far away, figurative or literally, but also even calendar wise, and just to have it all not work out, and the challenge that he's up against or challenge is. I guess there's something to be said about that. We think about that all the time, and just think. I briefly mentioned it. You know, we had this ice storm that came through here, and there was a winter weather advisory and watch across, you know, even Southwest, who I'll be flying with this weekend, 4 different times. You know, is warning everybody of all these things, and just to know that one flight, you know, with this domino effect could actually have such an impact, and so. One delay, one weather forecast, whatever it might be. So crazy to see in here. And yes, Ronald, as he says, a Smashbox exclusive. We're not happy that Paul had to share the news, but we are happy that he decided to share it with us. So I know there's a lot of speculation. I put a few of the quotes out there. And again, to quote him, he said, top 3 in no order would be Germ, Rick, Eagle. And I'm not going to say he's going out on a real big limb there with those 3 picks, but you know, putting all 3 of those somewhere in the top 3, I think makes perfect sense. I think a lot of people would probably have those in the top 3.
Probably.
We're going to see Avery Jenkins, though, a return of Avery Jenkins, the disc golfer.
Not the. I mean, this
not
is
the
a disc,
commentator,
this is a
not
disc
the
golf
vlogger,
world
not the
tour. So I wonder if it has to do with.
Will he Facebook Live while he plays? That
no,
would
I
be
was
going to
say, I'm wondering if it has to do with the data expenses that they're not going to be doing Facebook Live. I don't know if it's a change in mentality on UC's side. It's something we're hoping to get to talk to them about soon enough. And maybe Avery's going to be there and doing some post stuff with Jomez, because Jomez's crew is going to be out there representing Spin.
Well, I had reached out to Avery actually last week. I think it was right after the podcast, and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you on. It's been a while. Let's catch up." And then knowing that he was going to be playing and everything else, so I don't know if that's something that could get worked into next Tuesday, depending on the timing of it. We'll have to see. But we'd love to catch up and get more from Avery Jenkins. Again, he's going to be out there competing in the the World Tour event. Excuse me, the World Tour event as a top competitor. So should be pretty exciting.
Well, let's talk, before we get to the after show, let's talk a little bit about a couple other news and notes that we've seen this week. I think what I thought was going to be one of the bigger news items until we got this McBeth thing recently was the renaming of the Masters Cup. It is no longer the Steady Ed Masters Cup.
Presented by DGA.
Presented by DGA. We've seen, it was announced, correct?
Yes, it was announced.
We were privy to a little early information, so we had to be careful what was. It is now sponsored and presented by Innova, correct?
That is correct.
So
if not, it is now.
It is now. Sorry, Innova, you're on the hook. No, yeah. So Innova is sponsoring the Masters Cup, no longer the Steady Ed Masters Cup. So, I'm sure there were a lot of behind closed doors meetings and details, because this has been the Steady Ed Masters Cup for the longest time.
I believe for the entire 31 years prior. I believe, and I'm sorry, you'd have to go out to double check the website, but I believe
I'm gonna say this, and we don't know any of the behind the door detailings. I don't know if you do. Even if it's no longer, I know Steady Ed is associated with DGA.
It started the company.
I don't know if maybe DGA didn't want Steady Ed's name attached to it if it wasn't presented by them. or if Innova had an idea, like, maybe that's not best for us, I think Steady Ed's name should continue to be on it. Personally, it seems like a tradition. It's one of the ways we honor him every year. To take his name out of it, even if it's not presented by DGA, I don't know the details behind it, but I don't like it. So
It's a little the historical traditionalist in you coming through. That's not like you.
A little. You're right. A lot of times I'm not a traditionalist.
You're all about change.
I like change. I like movement. I like progression.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very progressive person, I like to think. But this is one of the events that I think that we honor the founder of disc golf. PDGA number 001, or if you want to say just 1.
Yep.
And I always say 001 because I've got the Steady Ed disc that he signs it. He always signed it 001. So I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts behind this?
Of course, I've always, in that sense, I'm a traditionalist, and I think this is very indicative of what we saw last year with Braden and the rest of the executive committee that overseeing the tournament as the tournament directors. They're ready for some change, and they were willing to do that by taking it over to the ball golf course.
Yeah,
and that was a change that was not overwhelmingly received by every single player, as one could expect. Anytime there is, anytime there is change, some people liked it way more than others, and this follows suit with that. And I know that Braden and the rest of the executive planning committee have a goal and they're focused and they're driven, and this is part of that what ultimately is being their transition.
I understand.
Braden wanted to make it very clear that this was a sponsorship that is in place for 2017. He doesn't feel like this is a foregone conclusion that it's always going to be any given one sponsor or situation, but this was the contract that was essentially signed and put in place for 2017. 2018, 2019, who knows? Things could certainly be different in the future. So I think that's worth noting as well. Now, clearly, we're not saying, the Innova sponsorship is a one and done. We're not saying that either. He was just saying that when he put a few cards on the table, this is how things all shook out. Mm-hmm. And so the one thing, I've learned many things about Braden, and as the tournament director and as a person, he is a very thoughtful, a very diligent, a very kind, conscientious man, along with the other people that aid and assist him. So this didn't come as an easy decision or as an easy process at all, I'm sure. And I'm not saying, anyone is suggesting he was flippant.
And I'm seeing things on the board saying, why is Innova doing this? I'm not saying we don't know if it's Innova that necessarily pulled the plug on that. It could have been DGA saying, if we're not the presenting sponsor, maybe we don't want Steady Ed's name. Or maybe it could have been Innova saying, this is an Innova product, we don't want Steady Ed's name on it because that represents DGA. I don't know which way the coin flipped.
That I can't speak to specifically. That's a good way to put it.
So I mean, don't necessarily hold one company responsible over another. That's all I'm saying. There's no way, unless you have inside information and you want to share it with us, that we know who's at quote unquote fault, if there even is a fault.
Well, and I'll read off of discgolf.com, which is DGA's website. They said they're not going to be the title sponsor for the Masters Cup in 2017. With this, we are making the difficult decision to remove the Steady Ed name from the tournament, which was graciously bestowed to the event by the forefathers and pioneers of the De La Viega Disc Golf Club many years back. So
it sounds like, just from that sentence, that because they're not the presenting sponsor, DGA did not want the name on that event.
Yes, which certainly is...
Which is their right. I mean, Steady Ed started that company, so that's that's the decision that they made. One of the things that Sarah Holcomb said, that there is always the Steady Ed birthday bash in Lakeport, California, where the original Mach 1 was designed.
Sure.
So that's always great. This was just like our big event with his name on it. This was the major, the thing that everybody, you put someone's name like his on. You don't.
Correct, and there's still going to be the Steady Ed Tour, as far as I know.
Yep.
Which is a series of events that obviously are taking place in California. So that's something that is definitely new and different. We're seeing a little bit more of a push from Innova this year in terms of they obviously have supported hundreds, if not thousands, of tournaments throughout the years. However, we're seeing it on a slightly bigger scale with a few specific events. We're seeing them very actively involved with the Utah Open, which is on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're seeing them also actively involved with the Disc Golf Pro Tour overall as a supporting and partner, supporting sponsor and partnership. And then seeing it for this event. And then they've always supported the Gentlemen's Club. However, now this year it's kind of amplified by being also a national tour.
Yeah.
So there's a number of things that we're seeing here in the works in terms of increased support and help and backing and support and sponsorship, I should say. So very, very interesting.
Well,
I guess to quote Jim Brown, well, not quite, but reference Jim Brown, I guess Salient let another opportunity slip through their hands.
That's right.
Is that a fair way to put that?
I would say so. Yeah. Thanks, Salient.
I blame Salient.
I'm going to use the thanks Obama meme and go, thanks, Salient.
Yes.
The only other news I really had was Ledgestone, Nate Heinold,
yes,
came out and mentioned and made it clear that this year there would be no stroke and distance at the Ledgestone Open. The pros are just playing the Eureka Park course, the temp course that's out there. I believe it's 3 or 4 rounds out there, and they're not going to do stroke and distance. He felt that it was taking away from the highlighting of the players, and maybe it was highlighting the course, or there was too much focus on the course.
Yes, well, that course has been certainly highly argued, discussed in lots of different ways. Everybody has their various opinions of it. Alta World, I believe, had released some form of article on it today. And the other thing that Nate had sent me a message saying that the event will add $50,000 to the pro purse for the second consecutive year, which is incredible.
Yep. So I believe they said $7,000 for the Open winner and
2,000 maybe
2 or 2,500, something like that. 2,000 for the FPO winner.
So some serious added cash, obviously
on top of the St. Jude donation.
Yes, and I'm not sure where that stands. I haven't heard as much because we're not looking at a St. Jude Invitational this year as we've seen the last few years. Not that we ever should necessarily halt or stop support for the organization, but there just isn't as much buzz going around, so to speak, about it because the specific event that's taking place in California, I don't think we're going to see another iteration of it at least this year. So
we can be clear with Elephantricity. He asks, what does stroke and distance mean? Stroke and distance means that if you are inbound, when you are inbounds and you throw it and your disc lands out of bounds, rather than take it from where it was last inbounds, you take it from where you threw the disc. So your disc makes 0 distance, but you take a stroke penalty. So that's what they call it.
So you don't get to progress anywhere in any direction. I was going to say down the fairway, but you don't get to move forward regardless.
And he in the press release, he had stated that he's going to adjust the course with this. So we might see maybe some thinner fairways.
Sure.
We might see maybe another island green or two. I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point, but that hopefully they should punish the players a little more if they're going for things. So,
well, it will be all live on Smashbox TV. One thing that we are excited, I guess we'll follow it up and say, because we rely so heavily on the cellular data, and that ultimately is what's going to determine the best quality for you guys to view at. When we go to a place like Lake Eureka, where we've now been 2 years in a row, not only are we familiar with the course and the territory and and all of those things, but more importantly, we know that they have really actually above average cellular reception there at Lake Eureka or in Eureka, Illinois. So that's good news from a broadcasting perspective and standpoint. Is we're familiar with the territory and we know that the coverage is great there. When I was assembling the women's skins match from a few weeks ago that we referenced, I remember thinking, man, we really struggled at Morton at that course. Just there wasn't good cellular signal. We had to skip a handful, almost half the course.
Yeah,
actually.
we kind of rotate around half the course and bounce back and forth. And
So-
even then, if you go back and look, you can see we'll have a cameraman standing in one spot and it'll be fine. And 10 seconds later, I'll be yelling at him, "You got to move! You got to move!
So-
Your signal died." So, for us personally, getting away from that course is it's really a dream come true.
And we can talk more a little bit about the specifics. I see there's a slight conversation going on talking about payouts. Jeremiah said that he thinks the Open deserves at least 10K, not 7. I'll politely disagree and say,
I don't think they
first of all, they can do whatever they want with 50,000 added.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But secondly, more importantly to me, is they pay incredibly deep.
Correct.
And we can argue all day long about what is better for our sport, to pay the top person or the top finishers way more, or to pay out deeper so that more people can get a piece of that added cash. That is that's a no-win argument, because everybody could discuss till they're blue in the face about which side is better. I'm personally fine with that's one of the largest single paychecks you can earn in 2016 or in 2017. 10K versus the 7K. I think even the winner will probably tell you I'm okay with that.
When the 30th and 40th person are pulling in $1,000,
or 1,500 or whatever it is.
I don't think there'll be too many complaints. So
yeah, and so I don't want to get into all the specifics about the event because I don't know all the specifics.
And
we just know that that's where they're playing.
Yeah, we've got months to do that because
Exactly.
Legend will be coming up. So that's all I really had for news and stuff. Is there anything you needed to follow up on? Or?
We can talk more about it in the after show. I was just going to discuss more specifically my crazy travel and plans and coverage for the weekend.
Yeah, that's after show
We'll
stuff.
get to that in the after show, and we'll have something to go on from there.
So stay tuned in the after show. We are going to give away a Discraft Crystal FLX Buzz SS if you are a Patreon member. So,
Ledgestone Insurance Edition.
The Ledgestone Insurance Edition. Good call.
What a segue.
That's great. Almost like we know what we're doing.
Almost like it was
We'll get
planned.
there. We'll get there.
So for everyone that chimed in tonight, gave us all this amazing information, solid announcements, great news, some not so great news. For Steve Dodge from the Disc Golf Pro Tour, from Mike Barnett and crew from the discgolfcruise.com, for Paul McBeth of Not the Aussie Open, for Johnny V
Ouch.
and myself. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's podcast number 127, jam-packed with a ton of info. We'll see you in a few moments for the after show. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smash Box.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the video credits. If you're interested in being listed as a producer on Smashbox TV's podcast, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Wow.
I know. Look, you like the way it flips around like that?
Oh, flipping the script, I think some might say.
That's called the cube zoom.
That
That's
is
just a stupid transition.
so cute. Welcome, everyone. This is the Smashbox TV podcast number 127, our after show, where we rehash everything we just talked about. No, we don't. But we give a quick overview of everything that just happened, and we talk about some goofy and unrelated topics that may or may not be disc golf.
I
guess that would
we
be the
usually start
definition
disc
of
golf and then we
unrelated
kind of tail off.
All right. Well,
so.
I'm going to start with a few basics, and let's go with birthday shout out. Peter, happy birthday, Peter, known as NorCal Disc Golf. I believe he's on the board tonight, and I believe it's also his birthday. And thanks for the support. Peter buys a number of discs and products from myself.
Oh, is that how you get a shout out? You
just buy stuff
You
from
need to
me.
line your pockets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Or buy me dinner at a stop, or hand me a couple of frosty brews. Yeah, those are all ways you get shout outs.
Like Wendy's Frosties?
No. I'm trimming up. Not for those. Chris Cobb is also a nice, helpful guy. We give him a shout out. I hope to be seeing him this weekend. So we did, real quickly, for everyone that missed it, we did talk to Paul McBeth. He says he's 99% not going to be at the Aussie Open. And we talked to Mike Barnett, who also gave us some information about the Disc Golf Cruise. And so hopefully, if you're not too late, you may get yourself signed up for that. And then Steve Dodge gave us some great insights for what we can see in the 2017 Pro Tour, along with the idea that the Mini Buzz, the Disc Golf Pro Tour Mini Buzz, Jawbreaker Mini Buzzes have been released and are available for purchase. So those are a lot of the super quick updates. I'm going to go ahead and start off with, I am going to be insanely busy and a little bit tired, as this weekend is coming up, and I'm excited to announce that I will be in Seams, I don't know how to pronounce it, Alabama, Semmes. Semmes, Alabama? I don't know. I should look for a phonetic spelling on that. I will be there in Alabama, as John Houck of Houck Design is going to be officially opening his 100th course design. And there's a tournament that's going to be taking place. It's going to be a 2-round. I don't know if it's a C or a B tier. I think it's a B tier. That I'll look up. But it's a regular 2-round event that's going to be taking place. But there will be a ribbon cutting of sorts and a ceremony of sorts. And maybe most importantly, a historic event in that it is John's 100th course design.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, a household name when it comes to course design. When you think of course designers, who comes to mind besides me as your course designer in here in Wisconsin? But who comes to mind?
Just literally John Houck.
And okay, I think Chuck Kennedy.
I mean, Chuck Kennedy.
Okay.
I'm just, especially being up here in the Midwest. But I mean, when, for me personally, and maybe it's just because the way my brain works, I compartmentalize Chuck with statistics and math and things like that.
Sure.
And he does a lot of course design, so don't get me wrong. But when you think of disc golf course design, you think of John. And that's really, he's kind of the nationwide name.
Yeah, and when you, every area has course designers. We think of a Duster Don Hoffman here in Wisconsin, and a Randy Shukar, and so on and so forth. All these people, I've done about 30 or so courses. You think about your regional names, and you have so many of them, and there's a ton of amazing courses. You may think of UC when you start talking about course design, especially overseas. But you're right. When you think about prolific, specific people in terms of that facet of the game, you think John Houck, and I think of Chuck Kennedy as well. Mm-hmm. Two of our most prominent course designers that come to mind. If you go down to the International Disc Golf Center, there was at one point Chuck Kennedy was kind of the lead designer on the Steady Ed course, and John Houck was the lead designer over on the Jackson course, and then I believe it was Jim Kenner and a few other people that were on one of the other courses. I'm sorry, I forget the name of it, but so yeah, obviously Chuck and John, two of your household names that you think of.
Yeah.
And given that opportunity down at the IDGC speaks to that. So he's opening his 100th course. I'll be there for it to catch the action, and then I'll be flying into New Orleans because that was the cheapest, most practical way to do it. Flying into New Orleans on Friday, driving over to Alabama Friday night. It's about 2.5, 3-hour drive. Oh, and Greg Hosfeld. I apologize. Greg Hosfeld, of course. I'll be driving from New Orleans over to Alabama. Saturday night driving back to New Orleans, and then Sunday morning getting on the earliest possible Southwest flight to then bring me into Phoenix, Arizona, where I'll be visiting Dave Felberg and the rest of the crew in Maricopa. along with Javier and all the other amazing people that I met that I knew from last year that were out there, and filming Dave's event that he's putting on, which is a B tier. It's not opening up the Next Generation Tour this year, but it's still a B tier put on by Latitude 64. So pretty crazy how everything's going to be shaking out. I'll probably come back in a day or two later. Right now I'm scheduled to come back Tuesday, but things could change to earlier if I can keep watching flights. So we'll see how things are going to shake out. But
someone asked,
very, very cool.
Roughly how many courses have you designed?
It's roughly 30-ish. I would have to sit down and actually do the number or count them all up. I would say very few have I consulted on with someone else. I mean, there's a few of those. I don't really even usually count those.
Yeah.
When I think of the ones that I've done, I think of courses that I either directly sold or impact
Sure.
or provided a design and so on and so forth. And it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30.
Okay.
So, and yes.
How many good ones, though?
I'm
just
good
kidding.
is a relative term, but
No.
what I will say, because a lot of people are like, you've done that many.
Hold on. I'm setting you up for that one.
No, a lot of people say though, you've done that many, and you're right. There is only a few that I think stand out. More often than not, most of my course designs have come from schools,
Rec departments.
and then rec departments, and a lot of them have rec departments attached. But some of my favorite ones are where there was no disc golf. It might be in the middle of nowhere, or it's in a park that never gets used otherwise. And I think of locally to Milwaukee, like Spazland Park is this perfect example. We have Dretska Park, a world-class course, like 5 miles away, not even 5 miles away. We have Brown Deer, not even 10 miles away. But Spazland is this little 9-holer with very few trees that were on it. I used every piece of elevation that they offered. And it's a great beginner course where every hole is under 250 feet.
Exactly. Like no one would ever walk out there and be like, wow, this is a fantastic course.
Never.
Like this is
I don't even say that.
No, this is a great neighborhood course. And that's
Exactly.
and that's what, I made the joke of how many good ones have you done. Like, depending on what you're looking for, that there's a totally different definition. If you go by disc golf course review, that's a totally different standard as opposed to saying, I put one in in Germantown, Wisconsin, in all of like 8 acres. And is it even that much? Spazland Park?
I think the park is 10.
10 acres.
The whole park.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we only use a small portion of it. So, I was just kind of jokingly setting you up for that.
No,
so.
but it's I would say my favorites, which I worked a little bit with Tom Jenkins on as well as he helped me out. But the two of them are literally 2.9 miles apart from each other.
The two Kenosha courses.
And those are the two Kenosha County courses. So if you're in northern Illinois or Indiana or wherever, you're not too far away from them. That's Silver Fox or Gray Fox and now Silver Fox, just 3 miles apart from one another. And look for some big events to take place there in future years.
Should we get rid of some of our viewers and do our little giveaway and then have everyone just leave because
that's
they win?
all they're hanging out
That's
for?
all they're waiting for?
I keep thinking I need a question, but I don't because we just
we just
from
literally we have right now.
Tell everybody how they can win stuff.
So if you are interested in being part of our weekly drawing, you can go out to Patreon. That's Patreon. Yeah, I didn't reverse any of those numbers or letters. Patreon.com/SmashboxTV. Literally give the minimum if you just want to be part of the giveaway. That would be $1 a podcast. Or even, and you can limit it per month, whatever. I'm not going to tell you how little, or you can give as much as you want. What we don't ever say is you can give as much as you want. There is no limit to that. If you want to give $1,000 a podcast, we are here.
We'll rename it to your podcast. It'll be the Smashbox TV podcast
presented by Mr. $1,000.
Mr. $1,000. Yes, we will rename it.
So you can go ahead and give them there right before the after show. I usually pull the spreadsheet as far as who it is. So right now we have 63. So you have a 1 in 63 chance of winning. There's no restriction as far as how many times you can win. If you win 3 weeks in a row, more power to you.
You have better luck than Paul McBeth.
Good call. This week we are, like I said, we're giving away the 2015 edition of the Discraft Crystal FLX Buzz SS. It is a 174 plus orange.
174, 177.
It says it's. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. 177 plus numbers and letters today, man. Funny story. We growing up, we went to the same junior high.
Briefly.
Briefly, yes.
I arrived late.
You were a little late. You were a late bloomer. And there was a store I worked at right up the street called TriStar Video Games. I worked some like $3 in cash under the table because I was like 13 or 14. Every video game was numbered on the actual cartridge and the box that it went in, this clear case that it went in. And so when you got it, you had to check it, and I'd have to go through and clean all these things. I have no issues with numbers or letters, like reading or writing, but every once in a while, when it's just so many of them, I start to transpose them, which would really be unfortunate when someone would rent a game and not get the game they wanted because no one would check it. My boss did not love me at times. But anyway, let's give this away. So there's 63 people here out on my list.
Country Disc Golf said he just joined a few minutes ago. You may or may not have made the cutoff. Country Disc Golf.
Country Disc Golf. Let me refresh it here.
We should just say that you must be ready to go by 11 p.m. Central.
Yeah, I'm
forward.
I'm not seeing it yet, Country Disc Golf. So you're gonna be in it from here on out, though. So between 1 and 63, I'm going to go to random.
1 and 63. I only see 62.
It says 62, but I believe it's not showing one because of the way that they're giving. They're not asking for it, so it's weird. But I'm seeing 63 names in my list. Everyone from number 1, Adam Walter, down to Zach Pagic.
And Adam Walter, his shirt, I think we gave away the first week. His shirt is on the way. And then last week we gave away a disc to Cy, and that is also on the way. Tracking numbers are in your inboxes.
Fantastic. All right, so number between 1 and 63, I'm going to hit this generate button right here. You tell me what the number is.
Oh, it's my favorite number. 38.
38? Is that because that's how old I am?
No.
Oh.
10-7-3-8.
Whatever.
I was 38, high school football.
38. One of my favorite smashies, because him and I chat a lot on the Disc Golf Course Review Board. It is Lyle O'Ross. So congratulations, Lyle. He just signed up earlier this week. He had asked about giving us some sort of donation, and I pointed him to the Patreon.com. I said this is kind of the easiest way now that you can do this. So thank you, Lyle. You will be getting an email from us shortly, probably tomorrow, with verifying all your information as far as where this can go. So thanks a lot. We appreciate everybody's support. So, and with your support, we can do things, like I said, like purchase these new audio backup recordings, and eventually someday get a fiber line when Mr. $1,000 starts donating. When Smashbox presented by Mr. $1,000 gets us the fiber line. So
that's a good idea.
So awesome.
Wow. Thank you very much, Lyle. We appreciate it, all of you guys. We appreciate it. And just go ahead and clarify for everyone, I don't know how much we've done that, but when we go live in terms of giving you, we'll say, Vegas, which is the first time we plan to go live, the Saturday of the Vegas National Tour event, that will not count toward your Patreon giving.
And actually, one of the things, you and I talked about this, I brought it up with Bobby Brown because he seems to have it. I'm going to slightly change again the way we release the podcast. One of our big complaints is that the podcast is so long. I mean, I don't know what they're
so
complaining
long
about.
that they can't listen to it for a whole day straight. Is that their problem?
Like that's their problem. So I'm going to start breaking up the podcast into smaller podcasts and release it throughout the week. I'm going to give it a try for a few weeks and see what the feedback is. If you're a patron, I'm going to give you the full drop tonight. You will see everything in your audio feed tonight.
As two separate folders.
Actually,
one for the
no.
after
I
show?
think I'm just going to do one. There's no point in breaking it out into two for these
even
people.
for the after show.
Even for the after show. Because these are patrons. These are people that give us support. I'm just going to give them one big fat audio feed.
But isn't it easier for general anyone as a podcast listener to have that break where it's the after show versus not, or no?
Yeah, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But for everybody else, I'm going to start breaking it out. When we get back to our normal podcast where we have Dana on, I'll break out Dana's section, and that'll probably go out tomorrow. The interview will go out, Thursday. If we have two interviews, it'll go out Thursday and Friday. We'll do the news and social media on Saturday, the after show on Sunday, and we'll break out those segments. So you're going to see us almost every day. So you're going to be able to pick and choose what you do and don't want to listen to. If you can't stand Dana, and I understand, trust me, the guy just won't leave us alone. He keeps dialing in at 9 p.m. every.
Hang up. That's why you haven't heard him the last 3 weeks. We just hang up
hit
on
hang
him.
up now. So if you can't stand Dan and don't want to listen to his segment, you don't have to download it. So we're gonna start breaking that up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
2 votes have come in, and both people hate it. So,
people
I just want to clarify.
Both people hate that idea of what? And I'm open to suggestions. I haven't done anything yet.
Seems like Rick and Disc Golf Nerd have both clarified. So just so I know, tonight, let's say later tonight or tomorrow morning, when somebody downloads,
if you're a patron,
and they download the podcast, it will be the entire. We'll just call it 3 hours.
If they want. If listen, I'm totally open for this. If as a patron you want 2 separate audio feeds tonight that I hand you, if I hand you the regular show and the after show, I can do that. It's it's not tough for me for anyone that's a patron. I just kind of assumed, guess what? Why give you 2 in one day when I can just give you 1? Why break it up into an after show for the patrons? For everybody else, breaking it up into little segments, I don't know how it's going to come. I don't know how it's going to go. It's part of the advantage of being a patron is you get it all right away. So tomorrow I think what I'll do is I'll release the interview with Mike Barnett, because that is pretty time sensitive as far as the cruise goes. After that, I'll do maybe I'll do Steve Dodge. Then I'll do like the news and social media and the McBeth stuff on on Friday, and then the after show that we're doing right now probably on Saturday. So I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. You can reach out to me on Facebook if you absolutely hate it. If it comes down to it, maybe I'll just do 2 podcasts again. I'll release one on Thursday and and then the after show on Saturday. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel.
Okay.
I'm just trying different things.
No, I hear you. I would just think that somebody would love to know when that break is. Even for our patrons, they would love to know when that break is, that the regular show is, an hour and 40 and the after show was an hour and 10. It just makes it very easy for them to know where the break is. But
so, and for the patrons, and I don't know if it's anything I've really explained. If you log in and go to patreon.com and you look at our page, up on the right-hand side of the page, right under where it says become a patron, even though you're already logged in, there's an audio RSS link. It's starts with Patreon, HTTPS patreon.com/whatever, and everybody has their own unique link. So my link is going to be different than Disc Golf Nerds, then different than Terry's. You can put that into your audio feeder, whether it's Pocket Casts or iTunes or Google Play or whatever you use to grab your podcasts, and that will give you your own feed, so that you will get the like I said, you'll get the podcast immediately. Like as soon as I release it, as soon as I put it up here, you will get it. Everybody else in the world will get it broken up into chunks. But like I said, it says audio RSS link. You can just copy that into your RSS reader. You're basically, that's all a podcast app really is a big RSS feeder, and it'll give you that. So I don't really have, I don't know if there's anything.
I'll read a few notes off the board here, as we like to do here in the after show. So Matt Pipke says, so $1, $2, $3, $4, or $5 per episode, but do you pay up front to make it easier? Like just pay $3 times how many scheduled? No, how Patreon works is at the end of each month is when they will charge you for how many episodes were released during that previous month. So we'll say on I don't know, is it 31 days in January?
Yeah.
On January 31st or February 1st, it will go back and it'll say, oh, we see that that they released in January. They released, in this case, 5. There were 5 separate podcasts.
5 Tuesdays.
There were 5 Tuesdays. So if you're giving us $2 per episode, it will charge you that 5 times the $2 for 10. So if Johnny breaks it up into 100 little segments per night, or 1 segment per night, or 22 segments per week, it doesn't matter. Each Tuesday effectively counts as 1 episode.
Yeah.
So no matter how we break it up, we're not trying to fleece you guys and shake you down and break it up into 19 segments and charge you for all of those. It will be just a single night would count as 1 episode.
Yeah, I will never, ever, ever charge you twice for a night. Like, that would make no sense to me. That would be shiesty. In fact, last week, because we had such audio issues and Skype issues and computer issues, and the feed was just kind of cruddy, we didn't even charge anybody.
Nobody.
We just said we're giving it to you. That's not the product that we feel comfortable charging anybody for. So
we put it out there, and it'll still show up in Patreon.
Yep.
But you just click on a little button that says "Don't charge anyone."
Yeah. When I create a post, there's a little checkbox that says "Don't charge." So I always hit, for the after show, when I did it, I just hit "Don't charge" for the after show, because that's, one time you get charged 1 time a week. And then like Terry said, at the end of the month, it'll look at how many episodes we have done or whatever, and it'll say, oh, you're $1 a person, you're $1 a podcast, they did 4 this month, you get charged $4. Or, if you limit it, it'll say, oh, you put a limit of $3 on it, so we're only going to charge you 3.
Yeah, so those are all options. Same thing that you find on a number of other disc golf producers, some of the other film guys, same with the disc golf guy. Those are all, it's pretty much all operates the exact same way on Patreon. And I'll say the same thing. If I go to Arizona this weekend, which I'll be at on Sunday, I may break it up into the front 12 the front 14 and the back 13. More often than not, I'll charge you the Patreon account. I'll charge for the front 14 holes, but the back 13 holes I won't charge for. If it's a front 9 and a back 9, usually I'll give you a whole round, but only have it select as once in terms of charging patrons. So those are some of the strategies, some of the methodology there, which, I mean, one could argue, it's going to take me just as many hours to edit the back 9 as it does the front 9, but I don't feel like that's right to charge you for both of them. So I'll only charge for one of the two.
And Jeremiah Maraz says, in reality, it should just go to a paid stream, and that way there wouldn't be any issue.
The nice thing is, though, Patreon is totally optional, and that gives you the chance to support us if you really want to.
Yeah, if you find you can pay us the value you see fit. Because if I say, all right, every week is going to be $3, somebody's going to look at that and go, seriously, that 3 hours isn't worth my $3. What these two yahoos say is not worth $3. I'm not going to pay for it. But if you think that I wouldn't either. You spend $3 in water for me every time you come over and do laundry. But if you think it's worth $1, there you go. It gives you the chance. And honestly, we're never going to charge for this. We're never going to charge someone to get this. Doing this gets you things like the credits. It gets you a chance to the disc. If you look at some of the other higher end ones, we're sending out. I'm working on some artwork for a supporter disc I think it's at $3. So you're going to have an exclusive 2016 Smashbox supporter disc that will only go to the supporters at that level. So, and I'm going to wait a little bit on that before I get that, because I want to get a general idea of how many people we are actually going to get in on this. So, yeah. So I mean, there's we're trying to give back for what we give, and it's really, if you find value in what we do, it's your opportunity to give some value back to us in forms of monetary greenbacks.
Voluntarily. So, and good. Matt says, great idea. I'm down. If everyone did $1, these guys could do some really great stuff. And I'll say that just generically speaking across the board, that's not just our podcast. That's for all of the vloggers and the video guys out there like myself and Jomez and Central Coast. It is sometimes funny, and I don't want to get on a soapbox too tall. I'm short. It is funny though. You see, I'll see a video that has the
40,000 views,
or the women's coverage. The women's coverage I just did has 10 or 12,000, 13,000 views right now. If even every one of those views equaled just $1, I mean, all of our video coverage would get 100 times better, because we'd have real budgets to work with. Instead, that was me one Wednesday afternoon agreeing to Dana Nate Heinold from the event, hey, can you come out and film this? And I said, sure. And I think I bought my other cameraman lunch, and neither of us otherwise got paid. So, yeah, even just $1 can go a long way with a lot of the content for all of us. So, all right, enough of that. Kevin says, for every $20, Terry will send you one of those Ontario rocks he's hoarding. No, I won't.
No,
I won't.
I
First of all, I pay more than that. And second of all,
Kevin, I swear to God, someday when we're old, I'm going to end up burying Terry with Ontario rocks.
All 300.
The funeral will be, it'll be open casket, but you won't be able to see him. It'll be nothing but Ontario rocks over him.
I'll be
and he'll have a grin from ear to ear. So.
I will. I'll be yes. So all right, enough talk about money, but all good stuff, and we thank you guys for any kind of support you give us. No matter what it is. If you can afford to, great. And
if you're not a patron and you see Terry out on the course and you just literally want to buy him a drink or buy him a lunch, you know, everyone out there, every house we get to stay in for free when we're traveling, it all adds up, and we appreciate everybody.
For sure. All right. Cool One says, I'm definitely attending the Ledgestone Women's Skins 2017. Anyone else? Hopefully it'll be happening, and I would be excited to be out there to cover it as well. Speaking of that, there was someone I thought made a really good point to talk about that just briefly. They were watching it, and this speaks to Val Jenkins. This speaks to Sarah Hokum. Some of the messages that I feel like they drive home and point out all the time. When we talk about women's coverage and people talk about preferring men's versus women and all these other things, there was a post on my comments that I just I loved. Let me see if I can read it for you real quickly. Matt Glista, who I know is a listener and a golfer that came up to Wisconsin to play recently, he said, and this is a spoiler if you didn't watch the video, so don't listen, but he says 23:30 through 26, so 2.5 minutes. He says, is the most drama-filled disc golf I've ever seen. Sequence of events. Katrina throws a great upshot. Paige throws a bad upshot. Paige gives a speech about ending the match with a heroic putt and claims, we'll see. Paige makes a heroic putt am side high. Katrina's softer putt bounces out after hitting high chain, center chain. Katrina's remarks, saying Paige's catches and mine doesn't. And then Paige, under her breath near the camera, says, putt it hard, karma. And Val, picking up her disc, mouths, whoa. And in post-round interview, Paige calls rollers, which Katrina loves to throw, unnecessary and uncontrollable, after Katrina had busted out a 400-foot roller on a line earlier in the round.
Wow.
And he says, how are the disc golf tabloids not having a field day with this? This is the kind of rivalry and character building that we need for interesting, successful ESPN production. Kudos on the way you strung that portion together tastefully, Terry. So I'm not just saying that because he complimented me, but the point is, it was awesome how that unfolded, and I don't think enough people take note. There was so much that, you know, Paige said as we were walking up the fairway, and then the way it unfolded like it did, and Paige's post-run interview, it's to me it was compelling. I appreciate Matt for noticing the turn of events that it was and putting it all together, because a lot of people think, well, this throw or that throw or whatever. If you really look at that storyline as he laid it out for everybody, I think he was spot on. So I'm glad you appreciated it, Matt, and I hope other people continue to appreciate all women's coverage, regardless of where it's put together. So very cool. I'm getting a note from Mike Barnett, which some of maybe already know. He's sending me a message regarding Disc Golf Cruise. Again, discgolfcruise.com, and at 2 p.m. on Eastern Time on Wednesday is when you can call in. How quickly do you think that will fill out? We saw an event in Wisconsin that's pretty well attended and well liked. We saw that sold out in a couple hours, and I know in Colorado an event can sell out in 12 minutes. But
the cruise?
How quickly will the cruise sell out?
13 hours.
Wow. Okay, so you think less than a day?
I think, yeah. I mean, if it's opening at 2 p.m., I think by midnight there will be people on a waiting list.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree. I was going to say 2 days, and you're saying in less than a day, but it's it's a very different time than we had back then, and the host.
The nice thing is, it's so far out there. It's January 2018. It only costs you $50 to reserve a spot.
I wonder if that's refundable.
I don't know.
Okay,
but
anyway,
so you could literally pay $100 a month if you're going solo, and basically have it paid off almost in time, because by October, that's 10th. Yeah, you could pay $100 a month and have it paid off. That's less than a car payment, but and it's happening in January when there is nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not going to Australia,
I say assuming if you're assuming there's not an Australian Open next year. I mean, if there's an Australian Open next year,
no, because that's likely every other
year.
But
usually, you're right, every other year. So I could really see this just exploding. I mean, it's so popular. People liked it so much when it was last around. 2011 was the last one.
I think so. That sounds about right.
2011. So it is a blast, and I would. Personally, if he does it in another year or two, I don't think I'll be able to go to the 2018 one, but I could see going to the 2019 one.
Yeah, so I'm excited, and then having, like he said, all of the world champions aboard.
Yeah,
that you do, and having Nate and Val, and if there's one couple, everybody loves Jay and Dez for sure, but if there's one couple that you most frequently hear talked about, after especially a Smashbox appearance, so many people love the aura
yes,
that are Nate and Val.
But I'll say, I've had drinks with all of them.
Okay. I think I've been present for a few of those.
Yeah. Des? Way more fun. I've never seen.
Don't give away all the secrets.
I've never seen Val 3 sheets to the wind.
Oh, okay. Well, then you haven't been around long enough.
Yeah, well, I know. I have seen Des, and she's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So just put that out there. I mean, I'm sure Val enjoys herself just as well, but I'll say that somewhere out there there are some wonderful pictures from, I think,
the memorial. Yeah, probably the memorial.
And she's a lot of fun. So if you get the chance, please spend some time with them. Jay's a riot, but really, hang out with Des.
I was just thinking now as I'm thinking about rifling through some of my photos.
Later, we can do that another time.
I was just thinking about if I think I had a photo opportunity with Des this year at, I'm not sure if it was Worlds or Glass Blown, but yeah, again, for sure, good times. Yeah, we'll get to those another day.
Another day, we'll bring out all the blackmail material.
All right, let's get back to the board. Andrew, a little late. Why is Beast not going to Aussie Open? We'll just mention it quickly for the last time probably tonight. There was some flight issues. Ultimately not able to reschedule and find himself a way to Australia in a practical manner in a legitimate time frame. Therefore, Paul McBeth says he's 99% not going to the Aussie Open as of right now, and that's been communicated, I think, with UC, who also had some travel problems.
No, I don't think he said I think he wasn't able to talk to
really?
UC yet.
He said he wasn't? Okay.
No, I think
he knew he had travel problems. Okay.
Yeah. He just knew that UC had.
So very interesting to see. He's rated higher than Rick. I don't know who's in a world ranking situation right now. I think it's Rick, but honestly I'm not positive. But either way, to see that McBeth saying he's missing his first major since
2011.
2011 as well.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible. And I was trying to think back as to why actually he would have missed in 2011. Might have been a similar situation, something overseas.
Jeremiah says that Paul's flight from Dubai to Australia was delayed one day. That's actually not true. I thought he had said that this flight was delayed one day, but from Dubai to Australia was packed for the next 4 days. So that's why not giving him the full amount to not giving him the full amount of time he would need to acclimate to the total time change and the heat and humidity. So it would have actually been a 3 or 4 day delay, as opposed to just a 1 day delay, which is unfortunate. So I think if it would have been a 1 day delay, I think Paul would have been all over that. He just would.
Yes.
So.
And then Paul also discussed that Nate Sexton ultimately had to withdraw from going to the event, and then his brother and his brother's girlfriend, I believe, was going. His brother had applied for a visa, and for whatever reasons, we didn't
Why
get
a
into
visa?
it. He said you have to.
Really?
Yeah, well, I think maybe because his brother was going to be doing the filming,
Oh,
and then maybe there's some
they was going to do some sort of work there.
they would have had to declare it in some capacity. I don't know those specifics, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, there must have been something along those lines for why.
Yeah,
it had to
I
happen.
understand like the whole point of visa, but I was curious as to like why would he need a visa?
Josh Welch says there's a 1% chance McBeth swims there.
Yeah, he did say there's a 99% chance he wasn't going. There's a 1% chance he swims.
He's swimming. That's how I read. Yeah, that's how you should interpret that.
Yeah.
That he's not going, but if he does, he'll be swimming. Do I have any graffiti glow buzzes? I don't believe that I do. I've got tons of random buzzes throughout the years, tons of them, but I don't think any graffiti glow buzzes. I've got a lot of the Ledgestone limited edition buzzes. All right. The only thing that Nico, yeah, we saw a picture. I recognize Nico, Philo, Barsby, and I could have and Ricky
For
in a picture saying that they had arrived after travel. There was someone in the picture as I was quickly looking at it. Someone in the picture
was the picture upside
recognize.
down? Because they're in Australia.
No.
Oh. I
I don't know who. Yeah, there's a picture on Ricky's from 6 hours ago. The crew made it to Bangkok. It was a long journey for us, and we're all glad to be united. It's now been 20 plus hours of travel for everyone, and almost to our final destination of Koh Samui. So, and unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know who that other gentleman is. There's one person that usually if a disc golfer posts a picture, we'd know who they all are in this case. But I only recognize Barsby, Ricky, Nico, and Philo. Is that a cowboy hat that Nico's rocking of sorts?
Yeah, it looks like a mini cowboy hat.
Some new style and threads there for Nico, who posted a picture of himself with his hair let down, so to speak, literally, on Instagram the other day. And it took me a second to recognize exactly
Is he going
who it was.
Back to Sideshow Bob type hair? Or?
I'm trying to think of how he worded it. I mean,
he's not going to call himself Sideshow Bob, but that was kind of the running gag with him many years ago, was that he looked like Sideshow Bob with the big hair, and he had the socks pulled up to his knees, and it's not. It looks like it's kind of matted down right now. It's not nearly as big.
No hat, and it's not quite. Doesn't seem to be as curly, I think, is the way I would word it.
It kind of looks like he's been wearing a hat for a while, is what it looks like. Is the
rocking though? He's not typically known for.
He's rocking the goatee.
Yeah, again. It took me a second to be like, oh yeah, that's Nico.
Yeah, he's straight up dropping that 2001 goatee.
Huh. So. We'll sidetrack briefly. Did you see my post on Instagram or on Facebook about my healthy debate? And you being a cereal connoisseur,
I eat.
Do you eat more cereal than any other adult you know?
No, I don't eat. It's kind of funny. In the past year or two, I've toned back cereal.
Oh, okay.
But not because I'm eating healthier by any means. It's my timetable in the morning now is one that I don't seem to find time for it. So I tend to skip breakfast, or I'll stop at the gas station or grocery store and grab a donut or some chocolate milk or something like that. But yes, I did see your.
I'll rephrase the
cereal.
question for anyone, or I'll quote the question for anyone that didn't see it. I posted it in the middle of the night last night. There was a debate going on. As a kid or adult, did you drink the milk that's left when your cereal was gone?
Yeah.
If yes, was it something your parents forced on you?
No. I did drink it,
Okay.
and my parents never forced me. I still drink it when I do have. But I'll say this: I am not much of a fruity cereal person. If we do get stuff, like sometimes we'll get Trix.
Mm-hmm.
But my kid, since my son doesn't like it, we usually don't get it anymore.
Like Trix or cereal, or
doesn't like Trix.
Okay.
He loves cereal. He eats cereal every single morning. It's either usually Lucky Charms or Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Cheerios or Frosted Flakes or whatever crazy Cheerios flavor. My wife tends to get that whole grain something or other.
Okay.
Which really, I mean, what's the point of the whole grain when I'm just going to pour sugar on it anyway? So, yeah, he doesn't drink this. He doesn't drink the milk, and I don't force him to. I always drank the milk growing up, but again, like I said, I think that fruity milk doesn't really. And I was never a Cocoa Puff person either. It was always like a grain type cereal, like a Lucky Charms or I'm trying to
Cheerios,
Cheerios, something like that. So
sure.
the milk didn't taste too bad. And I'm a very fast cereal eater because I like when I drink the milk, I like it to still be kind of just a hair cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're learning a lot. You're learning a lot about my cereal habits.
Well,
I wish I had more time for cereal.
Well, okay. I don't know that I was ever forced, but there was the reason. I feel like the main reason for it to drink it was because it's still good. It's not wasted then.
Yeah.
And so right now my two girls have no interest in drinking the milk.
My son won't either. And granted, I'm fortunate that he doesn't, because he gets himself up in the morning, he makes himself breakfast, blah blah blah. He doesn't pour a ton of milk in there, so it's not like he's wasting a lot of milk, like he filled the whole bowl. He knows that I've drilled it into him. I said, you don't need a lot of milk because you're just trying to get the cereal wet basically, and then it'll get there. So yeah, so your kids just waste it. Mine do. My kids does.
I'm not okay with it.
It's only a little bit of milk, and it gets the whole point of cereal down, but.
Then my rebuttal has been, as I've seen enough wasted milk, then my rebuttal has been, well, if it's just for that reason, then let's just pour water in there.
It doesn't taste good, though.
Only because of some silly habits, or not habits, but because of some other silly pretense. I mean, if you were just introduced with just pouring water on from the first place, you wouldn't know any better or different.
Sure, but adding the milk makes it taste a little better.
So the argument is that that water wouldn't taste good, but yet you don't want to drink the milk, which is what you're putting in there to begin with. It just, to me, is incredibly wasteful, and I disagree with it.
I'm fine. I drink it. I understand. I'm just I'm not going to force my kid to drink the milk. I mean,
what else do your kids waste?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What do you openly say? Hey,
water. So this is the thing. This is the thing that my son likes to do. Every night before bed, he gets himself a drink of water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can go and brush his teeth, get a drink of water, go into his bedroom, read for 20 minutes. Before he gets back into bed, he gets up and gets himself another drink. It's like the last thing he has to do. It's almost OCD.
Okay.
He takes the cup by the sink in the bathroom, and he fills it to the top.
Mm.
So like there's like this much, takes maybe a quarter or a third of it, and then pours it up. And I look every time, I go, "Are you kidding me? You're wasting water, and it's only a little bit." I say, just fill your cup up a third or even halfway. But he doesn't. I can't drill it into him enough. He's such a good, smart kid, but it's that one thing about him that just makes me want to shake him by his heels. I don't know. What do your kids waste?
If I was going to say if I'm not around, which I hardly am, damn near everything. And it drives me crazy.
Wow.
The cereal itself, not only do I feel like they're not eating all of the cereal, but it's a cereal with milk mixed, of course, which they're not dumping out or pouring out as they should be, but they're wasting the cereal and the milk because they just don't finish it for whatever reason.
Wow.
And again, I in all fairness, I'm not typically up in the morning for some of these routines. I'm very much a night owl. Nights like last night, I crawled into bed at like 4:40 or something like that, so I wasn't up when the kids got ready and got on the bus and all that other stuff. So I have to take some blame, and more often than not, I think for more than half the year I was actually gone from my house last year. So I can only throw stones so far here if I'm not actively participating in some of this child raising and some of these details, but it drives me crazy. So I feel like wasted cereal, there's wasted milk, there's wasted cereal, then there's wasted milk and cereal. It's infuriating.
I would gather.
And so I had the conversation with my co-parenter.
AKA your
my wife. I had the conversation about that's where this all stemmed from, which is should somebody be forcing these kids to drink the milk? And then that's when I brought it to Facebook. And overwhelmingly, as we can see by my very official Facebook poll,
Oh, yeah.
most people drank the milk. Now, a lot of them said they weren't forced to, but most people, almost everyone said they drank the milk, more or less depending on, sometimes depending on the type of cereal.
Yeah.
But the
The funny thing is, I love chocolate milk. Like, just as a kid, the Hershey's chocolate milk. Even to this day, I will go to the store. I'll buy a nice thing of chocolate milk, and I'll drink it through the morning. I never liked Cocoa Puffs, but I couldn't imagine drinking that chocolate milk from the Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, and see, yeah, that's the number one response on my wall was especially Cocoa Puffs.
and
Easily the number one response on my wall when people said yes, and then they would go on to say how they loved Cocoa Puffs. Cocoa Puffs, and maybe secondary was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but Cocoa
Cinnamon
Puffs.
Toast Crunch. I'll take
Cocoa
that.
Puffs was definitely the comment out there that people loved it. Like chocolate milk. That's what they all said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough. So if you ever wonder what we talk about
this
in
is
the
usually
after
show stuff. We'll turn off the broadcast, and then Terry will, or I will sit and complain about something. And this is usually so. We're giving you a little insight to our
yeah. This
after
is
show.
the serious hitting stuff. Kevin McCoy says you should train your kids with cattle prod. They'll get the message, and I agree.
My kid.
Yeah.
I'll say this. My kid has a healthy fear of me.
Well, maybe that's what I haven't done just yet. My 8 and 5-year-old daughters.
But my kid's kind of a sissy too. I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody's talking about electricity, turning off lights. Yes, that's an obvious one at our house as well.
Yeah, we're getting pretty good about training the kids to turn off lights behind them.
Rick wants to know how I get out of getting the kids ready. Yeah, they are now, they're pretty self-sufficient at 8 and 5. They do a lot of getting ready on their own. But usually my other half is doing the workload there.
Well, because she wakes up and goes to work in the morning.
Correct.
So
Which I'm not as on normal of a
someone's
schedule.
got to be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick, if you, I don't know how old your son is. I see Donut Day every Friday, and I appreciate it, even though Donut Day is more than Fridays for me. Get your kid an alarm clock, man. Like that was my son's. That's what it was. Start forcing him to get himself up. Turn off that alarm clock. My kid wakes up at 6:05 every morning, and gets himself cereal. Then he gets dressed. Then he brushes his teeth. Then he does violin in the morning for like 15 minutes, and then then any spare time he has before I have to go drop him off, he gets to watch video or play video games or something. And usually it's about 10 minutes, and that's what he strives for. Like if he can get through all his stuff, he gets to play video games, and that's his driving force. So,
makes perfect sense there. The funny part is somebody questions what in the world we're talking about cereal for, but yet 80 people are listening live, listening us to talk about the cereal. And yes, this is what you get for your $2 per episode.
No, this is bonus content, Ronald Harkey. You get the Paul McBeth exclusive interview for $2 a show.
Yes, that's the heavy, hard-hitting stuff.
This is what we throw
Paul
in for
McBeth
free.
did not call into any other live podcast tonight. Or any other news source
tonight
to give the story tonight. He did it right here on
So
Smashbox.
tomorrow, when you see the Ultra World article, you know where you heard it
old
first.
News.
You know,
old news by that
to
time. Definitely. Rick says your son is 5, and Rick, one of our favorites out
next
there.
year. Next year, Rick. Alarm clock.
Rick is famous now for having Donut Day on Friday with his kid, and we love seeing the pictures there on Facebook. This broadcast is worth $1 on Patreon until the after show on wasting milk. Now it's worth 50 cents.
Oh, we're devaluing ourselves.
I don't think that's possible. The bigger question is, do you dunk a chocolate chip Pop-Tart in milk?
No, just a chocolate Pop-Tart.
Oh, chocolate? Oh, yeah. Chocolate.
Okay. Here's the next thing. I'm going to go on a limb, and I don't even know if they make them anymore. I never really liked Pop-Tarts.
Mm-hmm.
We had something called Toasty Tarts. It was like, I think it was the generic brand.
I was just going to say, that sounds like the knockoff brand, yeah.
And I don't know where they were, but they were better than Pop-Tarts.
No.
They were better.
No, you're blowing my mind here in the after show.
They were better. Like the Pop-Tarts to me were always, other than if I get Pop-Tarts, which is so rare, It's usually the cinnamon ones with the big
Oh.
cinnamon frosting on it, and yum. But no, the toasty tarts, the strawberry ones were phenomenal. I don't know where they are. If anyone, toasty tarts, yum. They're better than Pop Tarts. Just saying.
Okay. Is that their
Cook-
tagline? Toasty Tarts were better than Pop Tarts.
It should
We
be.
still have tart in our name.
Yeah, I like cookies and milk is my thing. I love that. Dunk a lot of things in liquid. Disc Golf Nerd says that. So, whatever.
Anything else in the news? We saw Simon yet again confirmed, just saying that we saw Simon and Eagle both say they've re-signed for 2-year deals with Discmania. I don't think that blew anyone's mind or was all too shocking by that. Simon obviously not playing in Australia. We know. I think we've discussed that one. I think we've covered most of the details. If you're going to be in Alabama this weekend at the grand opening for Hauk's course design, John Hauk, please say hi. I'd love to see you. I'll be in and out. I'm going to be in the state of Alabama, for less than 24 hours. And then in Phoenix for probably less than like 12 or 18 hours or something. It's going to be a pretty crazy weekend. Going to be doing a lot of driving around. I've never been to New Orleans, and unfortunately I'm going to only be there for a matter of minutes. I'm flying in there, getting the rental, driving to Alabama. Saturday night I'm going to be, I'm guessing, insanely exhausted, so I'm not going to be able to partake in any of the real fun in New Orleans for the night. And then I have a flight out right away on Sunday morning. But I will be visiting. I don't think I've ever been step foot in Louisiana. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
quick and easy, quick in and out, but for the first time ever.
Okay.
Pop-Tarts. Sims. Okay, thank you, Ronald Harkey. I was going to look that up. I'm going to be in Sims, Alabama. Semmes. Sims, Alabama. Have a good night, Jeremiah. We'll see you next time. Kevin says he has a kissing, kissing cousin. He has a good cousin to kiss in Alabama? I don't know what you're saying there. Maybe I'm misreading that.
You could be misreading that, but I don't know. It's Kevin. So
Mike Mack says Billings, as in Derek Billings, is playing the local A tier at Shady Oaks in California. I don't know if he's going to tour. I'm guessing he's not going to tour. Every conversation I've had with one of Derek Billings' good friends in Drew Gibson has been that Derek has a alternative calling to making money back home and at home, which is one reason he just economically it does not make sense for him to travel around, hustle in that disc golf lifestyle versus what seems to be a good paying job back on the home front. So is the cruise sponsored by Innova is a question that came in. Short answer is no. It's not sponsored by Innova. There's going to be a 1-round, 18-hole PDGA C tier that will be taking place that is heavily backed and supported by Innova in terms of playing. To say the entire cruise is sponsored by Innova, I think would be giving Innova a little too much credit. I know they're helping out and they're a huge partner, but the cruise is not. There was no discounted pricing or all the crazy drinking that's going to be provided free. Innova was not part of that process. But in terms of the actual disc golf taking place as a PDGA 1-round C tier, that I think you can large in part thank Innova for collaborating with.
Definitely.
Can everyone hope for a mixed doubles team of Eagle, McMahon, and Kona Panis? For the millionth time, I called her Kona Paris.
It's gonna hit. I'm gonna cattle prod you every time you say it.
I guess we could hope for that. I'm not sure where and when. I mean, maybe Worlds. Last year, I was just reviewing some footage. Last year, we saw Eagle McMahon team up with Maria Oliva at Pro Worlds. I'm not sure if that will be the same this year or not, but I guess they could be doubles partners. Sure. There's not too many mixed doubles events to speak of.
Really, it's just the Worlds one that people look forward to, just Pro Worlds. I mean, there are one or two other. There's like one other.
I was gonna say I don't know.
Isn't
mixed doubles? I don't know if there's another
isn't
single
there,
notable mixed doubles tournament.
Doesn't the national doubles tournament have one or something? I don't know. I thought they did, but maybe not.
No, I don't believe they do. I believe that is usually that's divisional. not mixed. Not mixed. I think that's typically been just divisional.
And Rick, I'm going to let Terry reach out to you soon on that. So
I don't think so, Rick.
I'm not thinking so. Is what we're leaning.
But
towards.
maybe. But I don't think so.
There's a 99% chance.
Yes. Are you going to be swimming there?
And Disc Golf Nerd has said he's testing the G-Star Shrike.
Okay.
And when he gets that taken care of, hopefully he'll do like a mini review for us so we can have it here on the podcast and point everyone to Disc Golf Nerd's YouTube page where he does very long, well done, in-depth interviews with the disc. He sits and talks with them. It's really funny. Reviews of the discs. So,
and Ronald Harkey says he has one, but he hasn't had a chance to throw it. He says a couple people say that it feels really good. So
Lindsay's asking if there's a cap for the cruise. People-wise, we talked with. There's not really a cap. There's a cap for the event part of the cruise.
I think Mike avoided that question. I don't think he directly answered me.
No, I don't think he was extremely clear on that. All I would say is that if it's only $50 and you have a thought on making it, like we always say, pre-reg, you throw it out there.
There is a 90-person limit on the tournament is what he's planning on. There's a slight chance that could expand, but I would not count on it. I think you're going to see a 90-person cap on the actual play, but he's anticipating anywhere between 120 and 140 people that will probably go on the cruise as part of the disc golf cruise.
And that could be family,
spouses, kids, whatever the case might be. So, yes. But I think I clearly asked him if there was a cap on people, and he really only answered to the tournament. Now, could there be only 90 tournament players and 300 disc golf related people? I don't know. I would hope so, but and the costs were $850 on an internal cabin, $850 per person was the starting cost, $1,250 for I think a more scenic cabin. And that includes a ridiculous amount of beverages as well, and some kind of hotel gratuity that would be actually included. We need a couple more ringers for our club challenge in April at Lemon Lake. Are we in?
Do we need to bring the ringers?
Yeah. You want us to recruit for you?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I'm just going to go ahead and say, sorry, Shane, but no, because I think I'm literally booked every weekend in April. I know.
April is swamped for me.
So when is your cruise? Is it the weekend?
It's the weekend between
the first two
Disc Golf Pro Tour events
April.
Of April, because the first weekend is one Pro Tour event. I'm leaving. That's spring break for my kids. I'm going on the Disney cruise. We're leaving Florida actually a little early. We're flying out on Wednesday so that we can get back. I can get back here so I can start broadcasting.
So your cruise is going to start on like the 7th or 8th?
It starts on a Friday and ends on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, and then we get off, and then we're staying in Florida. We're going to go to Universal Studios for one day. So get this. So our cruise ship stops at Atlantis.
You're missing my tournament I'm running that weekend, the 8th and 9th.
I'm sorry. It stops at Atlantis, which is like this huge water park on this island. My friend actually had a timeshare there for a little while. We were thinking about getting off the boat for a few hours, probably 5 or 6 hours, and going to Atlantis. Take a wild guess at what it would cost one person to get into that place.
Into Atlantis?
Yes.
Is that a Disney property?
No.
Type place?
It's like this private.
And what is the premise of it again?
It's like this huge water park, I guess. Like this big. I don't know. That's all I understand.
I'm going to say something absurd like $199 a kid.
It's like $150 a kid, but $200 an adult. I heard.
Okay.
And yeah. So if we wanted to get off the cruise ship and go to this thing, it would have cost us like an extra $800 or $800. And I looked at my wife and I laughed at her. Not that she wanted to go, but I still laughed at her. I was like, "No, we'll stay on the boat and I'll push my kid down the water slide
10 extra times."
Yeah, 10 extra times rather than do that. It's gonna be expensive enough.
Yeah, that does. That sounds crazy, especially when you're going to be. I mean, you're going to be in such a water friendly area anyway.
And
it's not like he's
the cruise ship has a water slide built in. It's got. I mean, it's a Disney cruise. It's got everything you want. It's got a Millennium Falcon room, which I don't understand what that is exactly, but it's all Disney stuff. So.
All right. Did you ever say if you could have more than 2 per cabin? I believe not. I believe that's kind of the standard. I don't know if it could be like 2 and a kid or not, but I think 2 per cabin is like the official sleeping arrangements is what I believe to be the case. But again, call after 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and you'll know that for sure. I can handle the beverage part. I'm heading out. Have a great night, Rick. Thanks so much, Rick. Have a great night, pal. Yeah, Lindsay's all about the beverage part. Simmer down, Lindsay. Just kidding. His reviews. There's some reviews of disc out on Disc Golf. Nerd has some out there. The Dells and water slides. Check out the Orlando Informer. All right, website. Okay. I don't know that we have too much, unless
we've
you guys
reached the end of the internet.
Yeah, that's about it. Unless you guys have something absolutely life or death or critical or pressing or crazy that we haven't touched on here for tonight. I think we've done a good job.
Well,
on
we've
wasting
done
a lot of your time.
We've done a job. We've definitely done a job.
Not sure who assigned it or if it's completed, but we've done one.
That's right. Nobody checks our work, thankfully.
Let's hope not. Well, it looks like this backup thing is still recording, so that's good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end this, and then I'm gonna put out the podcast for the patrons, and we'll start getting this stuff cleaned up.
All right, well, there you have it. So thank you guys for tuning in. We got a solid group of watchers yet tonight, this late. We know it's 1:30 Eastern time. We appreciate you guys being here with us for the long haul tonight, most of you, as you usually are our beloved Smashies and those of you that double up as patrons as well. We love all of you guys and appreciate it. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been podcast number 127, our after show. We'll be checking in next week. We're going to have a few more updates. I know we have a huge announcement coming. Yeah, I'm going to leave you with the teaser. We got a huge announcement along with some great details to follow it up next week, Tuesday. Johnny V doesn't even know what they are actually yet. I do. He doesn't. And we're looking forward to bring it to you exclusively live right here. So we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.